Today, I'm going to compare the GESY National Health System in Cyprus to the NHS system in the UK. You're going to get a comparison on wait times and also who can actually access GESY. You're watching Cyprus Unfiltered. I tell you real stories about real life here in Cyprus. So before I get on to those things, I want to start with a story because for those of you that have been following my journey for a little while now, you'll know that I had an operation back in November. And this is kind of a follow-up to that. It's not all about me, it's not all about my health, but it's the follow-up to that and my experiences with the healthcare in Cyprus. Now, I know a lot of you are interested in healthcare, which is why I wanted to do a follow-up video on this. And I figured it'd be worthwhile for people that are thinking about coming to Cyprus, maybe people are concerned about leaving the NHS behind and everything else. So let's just backtrack. In November 2025, so last year, I had to undergo surgery. And it was to remove some kind of lump that I had somewhere here on my chin or on my cheek. Because on the run up to this operation, I'd got numbness in my tongue, I'd got numbness in my chin, numbness in my lip, I'd lost my taste. And so on the run up to November, I'd had a whole bunch of blood tests, I'd had CT scans, I'd had 2 MRI scans. In fact, for those of you that don't know, all MRI scans, they're not the same. You can have a 1.5 T MRI scan, which is a 1.5 Tesla, or you can have a 3 Tesla MRI scan. I didn't know the difference. But a 3 Tesla MRI scan, it's apparently like a 4K movie versus a 1080p HD movie. So had the 3 Tesla MRI scan done, and that showed something up. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of all of that. I did the original video on that and the whole details around the operation, which you can find. But the point is, they did the operation, they removed the wisdom tooth to get to a part of where they needed to check. They cut my cheek open, and they had a look around, did the investigation, couldn't really find anything that was showing on the MRI scan, the lumps and things like that. So they stitched me back up, basically said, look, it's not cancer, so that's all good. And they said, at the time, everything looked okay. They said, but just to be sure, we need to come back and have an MRI scan in 3 months' time. And then we can just see what's happening and has anything changed, has anything grown. So that was November. Was in recovery all of December, and I saw some improvement. My tongue stopped being numb. I got my taste back, but my lip and my chin carried on being numb. It wasn't as bad, but it was still there. I could still sense it. But they did say it could take 3 months. Whenever there's any nerve damage, it could take up to 3 months to heal. So I'm thinking, that's okay, that's kind of normal, but I couldn't help but feel around my neck and think, actually, you know what? I could just feel something, just a tiny little lump. I don't know what it was. It just felt like something there and I couldn't feel on this side. And I hadn't felt it before. So I figured, okay, maybe that's just a result of the operation and it is what it is, you know? So I just assumed it's all part of the healing. Now, because I'm a man, they said that it wasn't cancer. They already said that. So I was like, don't really need to get an MRI scan done, do I? I just thought, it was fine. It literally, they didn't find anything the first time around. And I figured whatever it is, it's going to sort itself out because why wouldn't it? And they did say that it might not heal fully. They said if it's nerve damage, it could be for life, you know, which kind of sucks. But they said if it is nerve damage, it could be for life. It could be just one of them things. You know, luckily I'm not like doing a Sly Stallone. My face isn't all, yeah. But it was like, it could be numb for life. So there you go. So I was like, whatever will happen, you know, just like, it's fine. So then over the following months, kind of like, I noticed that the lump that I had on my neck started getting bigger. I'm like, okay. But then in March, right before I was due to come to the UK, it started getting really painful. And I was thinking, okay, you know, I went to Dr. ChatGPT, felt around, it's like, it seemed like it was just going to be a swollen lymph node and it was going to be okay. And after 5 days, it was okay. You know, the size didn't change, but the pain went away. So I was like, it'll be all right. It'll figure itself out, right? So I went to the UK, did some work, carried on what I'm doing, came back home, and, you know, the pain went away, but the lump was still there. However, since then, my lip started getting a lot worse, started getting really numb. And this is even more numb than it used to be. And I started thinking, okay, it's all really sensitive to the touch. And it kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, I actually need to get this checked now. Now, for the record, I'm still a man, but I'm not stupid. So I thought I better take action. So that brings me to early May. It was about the first or second week in May, something like that, this month, right? I kind of decided enough's enough. I need to get an answer. Better go get this MRI scan done, see what's going on. Now, I wanted to go through GESY this time because in November, when there was a hint that it might have been cancer, even though I had a maxillofacial specialist referral on GESY, it's still there now, actually. I've still got the open referral. I paid for speed. So for those of you that remember back in the day, I paid for speed and I went private. It cost me something like 900 euros or something like that to go private. And I paid for speed. But this time I figured they've already ruled it out. I'm just going to go through GESY because I've got the referral there and everything else. I didn't want to pay another 900 euros. But I thought, you know what? Because I did go privately, none of that information was on the GESY portal. So with GESY, you get a portal. I think the NHS do something similar now, but when I left the country nearly 3 years ago, there was nothing like this with the NHS. But anyway, the GESY portal is I can log in and I can see all the tests that I've ever done. I can see my entire medical history that I've had in Cyprus. I can, if they give me a referral, it's on there. If I go into a chemist, I show them my ID card and they just pull it up and they can see all the referrals on there and it's all super easy and slick. So anyway, I thought I'll go through GESY this time. So I needed to get the paperwork that the surgeon had done. So I needed the report of the paperwork that was done so I could actually see the results. In fact, I meant to have this right here. 1 second. You're literally watching an empty room now. Anyway, this is, has it got anything on there that you shouldn't see? Probably. Mobile number, ID, yeah, probably a few things. Anyway, I can show you this bit. So I'll hold it back. I got the report and it has the stamp and everything else. So that's what I went in for. I needed to get this bit of paperwork. And I needed to get that because I could take it to the GP and actually show them what they'd done because I thought, you know what, I don't want to have to try and explain it to the GP. And then they're saying, they look on the GESY system and they go, well, you haven't even seen a surgeon because it's still open as a referral and I haven't used it. And I was like, okay, fine. I need to kind of just go and get this letter. So I emailed them and I said, hey, can you guys send me a report of what you guys did in November? And I will take that to my GP. Thank you very much. Emailed them. Crickets. Literally heard nothing. Like, that sucks. So emailed them again. I tried phoning them. I didn't get anywhere. I tried emailing them again. And then still crickets. I think I left a voicemail. And then finally they got back to me. I received a call. It was around about the 13th, the 14th of May. And they said, no problem, Mr. Townend. You can come in on the 16th of May and they'll prepare the report and I can pick it up. I was like, oh man, I don't want to go in. Like, can you not just email it to me? And I said, yeah, we can email it to you. That's no problem. But if you want the report with the stamp on it, then I'll have to go in and pick it up. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I agreed. I thought I'll go in and pick up a bit of paper and I'll be gone. So Saturday, 16th of May, this is just over 2 weeks ago now. What I was expecting was I'd go in, I'd say hi, get my bit of paper, say thank you very much, and I'd go. So that's what happened. Apart from it didn't. My appointment was at 5:30 on a Saturday night. That always blows my mind because in the NHS, it seems to be everything's Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Here, they're working on a Saturday night. And if you listen to my first video when I was talking about this, when they first told me that it wasn't cancer, I'd got a call. It was about 9:30 at night. It was something insane, like 9:30 at night. And it was the surgeon that actually called me to tell me that it was all good. I was like, holy crap. You know, like literally his administrator called, said, hi, is this Mark? Cool. Got some news. I just want to put you onto the surgeon. He puts me onto the surgeon. So the surgeon's reassuring me at like 9:30 at night. So awesome. But anyway, 5:30 on Saturday night, I then go to the surgery and I have a chat. Expecting to pick up the paperwork, but he wanted to do a full examination. He wanted to check me out. He wanted to check the work that he'd done and everything else. Like, okay, cool. Well, you know, it was fine, but I just checked it out anyway. And he asked me, have I had any other symptoms? Have got any other problems? And I said, well, yeah, actually, I said, I said, my taste is better. My tongue's better. This is all still numb. So I'm going to go through GESY. I just need to take the report to the doctor. He's like, okay. So he does another examination and then he looks at this lump that's in my neck. And for those of you actually, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of gone quite visible now. So if I do that, you might see, maybe you can, I'm having to look. There you go. You can see that there. Anyway, so he felt this lump on my neck and he goes, no, that is different to the thing that he was doing in November, he said it's actually a different part of the face. So like this is here behind the jaw. And what he was doing was kind of here, like inside the jaw there. So anyway, he says it's totally different. He did a full examination on it all, asked me loads of questions. And he said that it was good that I had pain in March because he said normally if you have pain, it's a lymph node and that's all fine. I was like, haha, ChatGPT was right. I didn't say that to him. That was just my internal monologue. And I was like, woohoo. Anyway, so they told me they need to rule out cancer again. I was like, what? Come on, you've already ruled it out. No, we need to rule it out again. I was like, come on, bugger. So anyway, last time it was private. And like I said, last time it cost about 900 euros. And that's why I was going through this guy so I could take the details back. But he was like, no, look, I want to get you sorted. He says, you're my patient. I want to take care of my patients. And so he said he's going to do everything he can to get me as much of the work done through GESY. So I don't have to pay him anymore. So I haven't paid him anything else since, right? So he wanted me to do it all through GESY. And he also told me, if you've got kids watching this, just close your ears for a second, please. So I want to quote him, right? Because again, this is Cyprus Unfiltered. Kids, if you're watching this, close your ears. He told me, and I quote, he didn't want me to get lost in the fucking system. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I've never had a doctor swear at me before, but I was like, okay, that's really cool, I guess. I felt reassured because he swore at me. So I was like, cool. So anyway, because he didn't want me to get lost in the system, he then makes a phone call. And he goes, I'm going to call the ENT specialist because we need to get you all checked out. So he calls somebody he knows in Paphos, calls the ENT specialist. They're chatting in Greek, and he's like, cool. He wants you to give him a call on Monday. Like, cool, I'll give him a call on Monday. So told me exactly who I should contact, gave me all his details, and said, right at the end, again, kids, if you're watching this, close your ears. We'll get to the bottom of whatever this shit is. And I was like, cool. He's a straight talking guy. I'm a straight talking guy. I love the honesty. I was like, awesome, cool. We're going to get to the bottom of this. It's all going to be good. So Monday comes around, and I call the guy, call this ENT specialist, as instructed, because I'm a good patient. So called the specialist. He said, cool, can you come in on Friday 22nd later on this week? So this was a week ago Friday. Can I come in? Like, yeah, cool, no problem. So I went in Friday 22nd. And I arrived, and it was a normal consultation. And I'll be honest, the first thing he asked me was, am I on GESY? And I said, yes. So he takes my ID card, taps it into the system, and he says, oh, you've got no referral on GESY. I was like, oh, man. And he goes, no. He says, what you needed to have done was to call your GP or text your GP, and they'd have given you a referral, and you could have just got it for €6. And I was like, oh, man, like the maxillofacial specialist didn't tell me that bit. I missed that bit out, or he didn't tell me. No, he definitely didn't tell me. I didn't miss it. He didn't tell me. So I was like, oh, man. And he goes, so if you go and text your doctor or go and call your doctor, we can make another appointment and all the rest of it. And I was like, I don't want to wait. I said that to him. I was like, I don't want to wait. I said, can I not just pay privately, like now? And he goes, yeah, sure. And I, cool, how much is it? And he goes, well, if you go through GESY, it's €6, or you can just pay me €25 and we can do it privately. I was like, cool, let's just do it. Let's just pay it. It was like €25, done. So I paid him. I literally, well, I didn't pay him there and then, paid him at the end. But I was like, yeah, cool, let's just do that. We'll just do it now, because basically I was going to the ENT guy because he was the one that would give me the GESY referral for the MRI scan that I needed to go and have. If you do the MRI scan privately, you have to pay more, but on the NHS, on GESY, it's a lot cheaper. So I needed to go to him to get the referral. So that was cool. He then, what happened then? So then, yeah, he does an examination. And what happens then? He goes into the back room, or he takes me into the back room, and I completely forgot that this bit was happening. He goes, right, we need to put some anesthetic in your nose. We're going to stick a camera in your nose, down your throat. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, oh crap, forgot about that. I just wanted the referral. I was like, I didn't want it. Anyway, so there I am. It's the first time in 43 years I've ever had any camera shoved, and it was not comfortable. But anyway, it is what it is. It wasn't painful. It just wasn't comfortable. But he did the full examination. He did the physical examination. He's like, yeah, cool. We're going to refer you for an MRI scan. He said, we'll see what that shows up. And this is the 3 Tesla MRI scan again. We'll see what that shows up. And then you'll get a biopsy done by the maxillofacial specialist. And if, depending on the results of all of that, then we can do CT scans and everything else. I'm like, okay, cool. So at this point, we're moving. It's all moving quickly now. So I'm like, cool. We have an MRI referral. So on the Friday, he said, I will probably email it to you on Sunday. Or so I'll put it into GESY on Sunday, maybe Monday at the latest. And what they do is they put the referral in, and then when I go to the clinic, they will just see that I've got a referral on there and they charge me the GESY rate as opposed to the normal rate. So Monday comes around, or Sunday went, I wasn't going to chase him on a Sunday, thought that was a bit harsh, even though he'd probably answered the phone. I'll leave him alone on Sunday, gets to Monday, heard nothing. So I messaged him on Tuesday, say, hey, any update on the referral, please, because it hasn't come through. So he did it there and then, sorted it, he said, yep, it's now on GESY. It was like, cool. I picked up the phone to the clinic here in Paphos. So I went to the Paphos one this time rather than the Nicosia one, just because I didn't want to take time off work and everything else. So we get to the Tuesday, I've got my referral, and I pick up the phone and I call the clinic in Paphos and I said, hey, I need to get a 3-Tesla MRI scan done, please. When's the soonest you can fit me in? And they said, can you come on Friday at 8:30 a.m.? Like, sweet, yes, I can, before I start work. That's awesome. So that was Tuesday the 26th. 3 days later on the 29th, I'm walking into the centre to get my MRI scan done. Now, my appointment was 8:30. They told me, can you arrive a bit sooner? I got there at 8:20. I walked in, I was filling in some paperwork. There's kind of like just asking me if I'm allergic to things, the normal doctor type stuff, you're allergic to anything, sign your life away at the bottom, gave it back to them. Sat back down for about 20 seconds. Somebody walks in, calls my name. Cool. Straight in. Went straight into the MRI room, just around the corner. And that was it. Had the MRI scan and that was done. They pulled me out, put the contrast in my arm, sent me back in, did that. So I arrived at 8:20. My appointment definitely started before 8:30 by the time I was in there. At 8:55, I was walking out of the MRI centre with the results on a CD in my hand. Now, they said they're going to email the written report and it will come out to me once the things like radiologist or whatever the guys are called, I don't know, the expert that looks at MRI scans, somebody can correct me, said, yeah, he'll review it, he'll write up a report, and then he can email it to me in 2 to 3 days. But everything that I needed, all the imagery was on the CD. So that was Friday, just gone. And then I had this follow-up appointment with the maxillofacial specialist yesterday. And so you see, this is all timely because I wanted to bring this to you almost as it's happened. So I went back to see him yesterday and he took the CD off me. He says, yeah, great. Thank you very much. He says he'll wait for the written report now to come through. So it's going to come through like Monday or Tuesday this week. He's going to wait for the written report to come through. And then they can do a scan of that. And then the next step will be a FNA biopsy, whatever an FNA biopsy is. Basically, they're going to stick a needle in and take a sample and everything else. And they're going to do that this week. They said, right, once we've got the results through, we'll get it done middle of the week. And essentially, we're going to know what is going to happen by the end of the week. But while I was there yesterday, he wanted to reassure me again. And if I'm honest, he kind of did the opposite. But anyway, wanted to reassure me again. And he was asking me a load more questions. And he goes, has it changed in size? And he says, if anything, he says he thinks it's got smaller. I says, well, I'm feeling it most days. And it doesn't feel like it's changed in size to me. If anything, from December to now, it feels like it's got bigger. But he asked me a random question. He asked me, he goes, have I had night sweats? And just completely like a random question for me. I was like, yeah, I have. In December and January, I said there was a couple of nights, well, not a couple of nights, probably for about a month or so, probably 2 or 3 times a week, I was waking up absolutely soaked. Like pajamas are soaked, the bed sheets were soaked, everything was soaked. And it happened again maybe February, March time. It happened one, no, that's a lie. Started in December and January, nothing in February, March, happened again in April, and then nothing really again since. But anyway, he goes, look, it probably isn't cancer, but we still need to rule it out. Like, crap, here we go. But he says, going to get the results of the MRI scan. We're going to get that. We're then going to go through and do this FNA. He says, we'll get the results through really quickly. He says, by the end of next week, we are going to know exactly what it is. We'll know what we're dealing with, and then we can treat it at that point. Like, okay, cool. And essentially, to do the biopsy, they're going to stick a needle in, they'll take a sample, it goes off to some lab somewhere, they test it. But fundamentally, I'm going to know by the end of the week now exactly what the score is. So timelines from start to finish of, if you like, this new occurrence was, like I say, about the first or second week in May to now, and well, 31st of May. So pretty much everything's been done apart from now, this sample, which you're going to do in the next couple of days. Once he's got it, he's going to call me, I'm going to go back in. It is really, really fast. by comparison. And we're going to come on some stats. I'm going to show you some real world stats actually as to how that all looks. But I just want to give you another example as well. So that's this stuff, right? But one final story on this. So I've had to do some blood tests recently as well. I've been asked to get checked for vitamin D, for something else. Like vitamin D, I live in Cyprus, get vitamin D every day. But anyway, they needed to do a vitamin D test. Now, this wasn't on GESY because for some reason, you can test like everything else on GESY, but for some reason, vitamin D, they don't test on GESY. So I went to a blood clinic, and this was last week. Went to a blood clinic, and I just walked in off the street, knowing that I couldn't go through GESY. It was going to be private. So I walked into a blood clinic, and essentially, I went in, and it was about 9:45. I was in there for could have been more than 5 minutes. And that was literally walking in, going, hey, got this, give them like, my ID. Said, cool, go to that room, went to the room, did it, stuck a needle in me, done. And they said, cool, I'd give them the email address and everything, said, cool, the results will be with you later today. That was about 9:45. And by 11:30, all the results were on my inbox. It was that fast. It's absolutely nuts. So I have no doubt that whatever this is and everything else, I am in the best place for it, right? I've no doubt about that. But let's make this slightly more interactive. Instead of me just waffling on, I want to show you something now, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are thinking, that's great, Mark, you're on GESY, but can we even get GESY? Who can get it? So I wanted to show you a little bit about that. Now, I'm going to show you this screen here, which is, it's AI, right? But I've been looking through some various sources, and the reason why I'm using it in AI here is just because it's easier to consolidate it, and I didn't really have time to put it all together. So I was like, this will consolidate what we're looking for. Now, in terms of who can access GESY, yes, of course, Cypriot citizens can. And if you're an EU national, then you can as well. Anybody within the EU is like, my wife can access it. If you're an EU national, you come from Germany or France or Spain, anybody in the EU can come here and use the health system. But for a lot of people watching this, a lot of people in the UK, you're classed as this, the non-EU citizen. We're all third country nationals. And so you go, right, who can actually access it? And so there are a few ways you can access GESY as a third country national. If you're legally employed here and you've got a work visa, then that is one of the ways you can access it. Now, I appreciate not everybody's necessarily going to come out here and get a job. It's going to be quite niche. A lot of people will come out here and start businesses and things like that. But fundamentally, there is a way you can do it if you're working out here. But I think the thing that will be of interest to a lot of people will be if you are a permanent resident. So if you're a permanent resident here in Cyprus, you can access GESY. And I know because I know somebody that's just done this recently. They are a permanent resident as a non-EU citizen, and they've been able to get onto GESY. And so if you're coming in, you're buying a house or whatever, and you are going in above the 300 grand threshold and you're getting your permanent residency that way, you can absolutely apply for GESY. And like I said, I've seen this firsthand. So, when you're talking to your immigration specialist or whoever, if they're arranging your healthcare, you want to make sure that you're looking to do this when you come over. There are other scenarios as well, because this has broken it down here into, again, UK nationals post-Brexit. So you've got these things here. So if you were already here post-Brexit, you get to keep the benefits if you were here before 2020, but that won't apply to a lot of people watching this. So then you've got this, and again, this is the eligible as permanent residents. This is the whatever this permit is, right? And then you've got the S1 form holders, where it's basically if you're a pensioner. And that might be applicable to people watching this, because if you're a pensioner and you come over here, you've got Cypriot permanent residence, or you've got residence permit, as it's saying here. If you've got property or anything like that, then you can actually apply for it with the healthcare card and everything else. Now, I'm not going to proclaim to be an immigration expert here, and I'm not going to say, I know exactly how to do this, because I don't. But the point is, a lot of people, when they're looking at coming out of Cyprus, they're worried about, well, I'm going to not have the NHS, and they're worried about, are they going to have access to healthcare? So there are ways you can access it for sure, and you want to speak to a specialist on the island about it. If you are worried about the healthcare, though, here in Cyprus, I've pulled this together with some stats because of the things that I've been doing of late: MRI scans, CT scans, blood tests, right? What this is, it is average wait times in Cyprus versus the UK on the NHS for the same thing. So for an MRI scan here, this is saying it's 3 to 14 days as an average. Now, given that my timelines were from the 26th, so yeah, it was Tuesday the 26th, I made the phone call to the clinic, and I was in on the 29th. I'm literally at the very front of this 3 days, okay? In terms of getting results, so this one, the green bar here, that's when you get your results. They said for me 2 to 3 working days afterwards to get the written results. Well, I've already got some results on my CD, but 2 to 3 working days afterwards. So that's cool. So literally within a space of a week, I've got an MRI scan booked in with no prior appointment, and I'm going to get my results. Now, if this was the UK, if I was doing the same thing in the UK, you look at this, right? You're looking at between 4 and 12 weeks. So obviously it's going to depend on where in the country you are, and you might have some areas that are more congested than others, but between 4 and 12 weeks just to get the appointment on the NHS. And that's probably after you've been through all the hassle with your GP to get the referral in the first place, right? This is just when you get the referral. Your appointment could be 4 to 12 weeks in the future. And then you're going to have the scans. And at that point, you're going to have to wait another up to 3 weeks, let's say 2 to 3 weeks, to get the results back from the scan. So in total, you could be waiting 15 weeks or so to get an MRI scan done and get the results back once you've got the referral. For me, it was a week. So MRI scans, super fast. CT scans. Now, I haven't had one this time around, but I had one last time. And for those of you that don't remember the video, I'll tell you the story briefly now. When I went and had my CT scan, I remember walking in for my CT scan, and it was something like, you'll have to check the video actually for accuracy now, the previous one, but it was something like I walked in off the street about 9:20 a.m., 9:25 a.m. I didn't have an appointment. They just said it's a walk-in clinic. So I remember driving. That's right. Yeah, I remember now. So I was driving along and I thought, oh no, I need to get the CT scan done. I better ring up and book. And when I called them, they said, let me just bring come back to me a second. They said, you can just come down anytime. And I was like, oh, well, I could come down now. And I said, yeah, sure, come down now. I was like, oh, all right. So I did. So I went down, and this was about, like I said, about 9:20 a.m. And I paid for this, even though you're on GESY, you'll still pay for certain things, right? And I'll come on to that in a second. So you still pay for certain things. So I walked in 9:20 a.m., 9:25 a.m. By, I think it was 9:50, 8:50 or 9:50. Anyway, it was about half an hour later. Same story. I was walking out with my results. I'd got my CT scan results less than half an hour later from a walk-in off the street. And that was a mad thing. So anyway, so come back to this for a second. So CT scans, it's saying here 6.5 days total, 2 to 7 days. Well, I got it same day, and I got the results same day. But average could be 6.5 days in total, right? Something like that, right? So what's that look like on the NHS? Well, on the NHS, you're looking here, what's that? 2 to 6 weeks for the scan once you've got the referral. And then once you've had that done, it could be another couple of weeks on top of that. So it could be 8 weeks from referral. Whereas for me in Cyprus, it was walk in 30 minutes. Blood tests. I thought I'd just bring this one up because I've had a blood test, like I said, just recently. I've just told you about the speed of my blood test. Literally less than 3 hours from a walk in, and I got results. And in the NHS, what are you going to get? It could be, so what's that? That's 3 to 14 days to get your blood test done. So you go in, GP says, oh, I need to send you some blood tests. It might be, a couple of weeks, and then you get your blood test done. And then when you've had your blood test done, it could be another week or so before you even get your results back. So you're literally taking weeks to do the same thing, okay? So the point I'm trying to make here is if you're worried about healthcare in Cyprus, don't be. Because I know right now I'm in the best place. Like whatever happens, whatever this is, I am in the best place for it. I'm not worried. Whatever will be, right? There's nothing I can do about it. But what I can do is be in the best place when it comes down to speed. And I'm in the best place. The UK, when you listen to things like that, looks third world by comparison. The NHS is on its knees. Don't get me wrong, the NHS is great if you are terminal. Both of my parents have been through the NHS, and if they were in America, let's say, if they were in the US going through what they went through in the UK, they'd have been bankrupt, right? So the NHS is awesome for certain things, but when it's just kind of daily run-of-the-mill type things, it's slow, it's inefficient, and you know what? The waiting lists can be really long. If you're coming out to Cyprus, if you get onto GESY, it's awesome. The Cyprus healthcare system is awesome, right? In my opinion, I just from what I've experienced out here, it's great. It's really, really good. But if you're on GESY, it's cheap. Notice I said cheap though, not free. I'm not talking about national health payments or anything like that. If you're paying into GESY, because all businesses will pay into GESY. If you're a business owner, people talk about 15% tax on your business, but you will still pay 2.65% GESY on all of your profits. So, sorry, on all of your revenue. So you'll still pay 2.65% GESY. And then even as a non-dom citizen, because we don't pay tax on dividends, it's all tax-free, you will still pay 2.65% GESY. I don't mind, because when you look at the system and you actually experience it, it's great. But you pay that whether you can access it or not. So you're always going to pay into it, whether you can access it or not. But also, when you are on it, you have to pay small amounts. So my MRI scan was 20 euros. My blood tests are €1 each. The CT scan, I don't know why that was more expensive, but the CT scan cost me 70 euros or something like that back in the day. But what happens is you get capped. You get capped at 300 euros. So if I had a load of stuff done, a load of things checked, if my personal bill came to more than 300 euros in the year, from what I'm told, from what I understand and from what I read, it never comes to more than 300 euros. So it's cheap. Yeah, it's really cheap, but it's really good. Like I say, so I have no issue paying into it because, already as a third country national, the service I've been getting here is phenomenal. So yeah, if you're worried about Cyprus healthcare, don't be, because it's really good. And honestly, we've talked about this, and like I say, if I was in the UK, I would be more worried now than I am, because who knows, like things take longer, and sometimes you just need to get to the root cause of whatever it is. So there we go. That's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. I hope you found that interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the live Q&A in just a second. But before I do, I'm going to go to this. I'm just going to say, look, when I first moved to Cyprus, there was nobody really showing what Cyprus was really like. There was nobody showing what life was really like out here in Cyprus. And so what I keep trying to do is document it now for the rest of us. So look, my only ask really is that you give it a like and share if you haven't already. If you're finding this interesting, give it a like. Share it if you think anybody else will get some use out of it. If you see somebody asking about healthcare in Facebook groups or whatever, give it a share. Maybe somebody else will get some benefit from it too. Ideally, I'm just trying to help as many people as possible because, like I say, the more people see it, the more it might help. And, it's going to help people make a more informed decision before they look at moving out to the country. So there we go. That's me. Now we're going to go to the live Q&A. Let's see who we've got on the chat. Right. Let's just... Okay, we got in the chat. Oh, quite a few for tonight. Okay, so we've got Railway History UK. Good evening, Mark, from Tracy and Steve. Evening, Tracy. Evening, Steve. Thanks for joining. We've got Chris, register at GP and GESY also. Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, I registered with my GP. So for those of you coming in, actually, for when you go through immigration, you need to get registered anyway. You need to be registered with a GP, and you need to be, you'll need some insurance when you first come through. And I think mine was about 150 euros for like the basic insurance. You have to have some kind of cover because obviously when you come, you're not on GESY. Even if you're eligible for it, you're not on it. And so you have to apply for it. And before you can apply for it, you have to then come through and you get the basic insurance. But yeah, GP sorts it all out. Philip Shaw, evening Mark, evening Phil, or evening Philip, sorry. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining. Username is Jeff. Hi Mark, from Jeff and Sharon. Hey Jeff, hey Sharon, good to have you on. Alex, hey Mark. Hey Alex, good to have you on. Hope pay is treating you well. From Mike, evening Joanne, if you're watching. We've got Philip again. Hi Mark from Wales. Hey Philip, hope you're well. We've got lots of Philips. We used to have lots of Steves. There used to be a lot of Steves on this chat, and now there's a lot of Philips. Cliffy, evening Mark. Evening, how we doing? Karen, hopefully you're well. Music for life. Howdy. How's it going, Meow? Hope you are well too. Martin, evening, Mark, Sandra, and I watching. Hope you're feeling better now, and that Asha and Jacob are well. Thank you very much. Cheers, Martin. Cheers, Sandra. Good to have you on. Hopefully, you're both well, and it's good to see that the weather's been good in the UK since you left here. So that's hopefully still continuing. Railway History UK. Tracy says the FNA is a fine needle aspiration. Oh, cool. All right. Thank you. So I'm guessing Tracy is in the medical profession. That's cool. So hopefully it's been of interest to you tonight. You might see a big difference, or you might hear a big difference. Tangible Nomad. Hi, Mark. Important video for us this week. Interested to hear how GESY is compared to the NHS. Here in Brazil, we have healthcare insurance, so we're a bit worried about going back to a public system. I mean, the thing is, I don't know how it works with Brazil, but what you'll probably find is that when you come over from Brazil, unless you've got permanent residency anyway, you're going to be going private. You're going to be using insurance and everything else. So, I wouldn't worry too much. But what you will find is that a lot of the doctors out here, a lot of the medical facilities, they are both private and through GESY. So you can literally go to them and you'll have two prices. There'll be a GESY price and there'll be a private price. So fundamentally, I can only speak from my experiences. There will be somebody in Cyprus that has had really crap experience, and they'll be saying Cyprus healthcare is rubbish. I know they will, right? And somebody will probably sample this bit of the video now, and then it'll be me saying Cyprus healthcare is rubbish. It's not. At least it hasn't been for me. It's been awesome for me. But if you're coming over and you're not able to access GESY, then you might still be accessing the same doctors and the same specialists anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much though. Even if it is national, even if it's national health, it's like I say, I really like it. So hopefully it's been useful for you to hear it. Mihal, guys, what's NHS? I thought a myth of some kind. I waited for my sleep doctor appointment for 1.5 years in NHS, and that's just the initial consultation. Oh my God. Yeah, National Health Service is the NHS. And yeah, the wait times are ridiculous on the NHS. And I hear stories about people and they are waiting long times for different operations and things like that. And it's just, in fact, I was talking to somebody recently about this. For those of you that remember the comedian Lee Evans, he did a skit many years ago. He was talking about the NHS, and he says, when you ring up and you try and make an appointment with the doctor, he says you ring up and the receptionist will go, well, what's the matter with you? And he's like, I don't know, you're asking me to make a diagnosis. I haven't had the training that you've had. And anyway, and she'll go, we can fit you in a week on Thursday. Like, a week on Thursday? I'll be better by then. So anyway, yeah, that was 20 years ago. No, I don't think it's got any better. Anyway, got my wife. I see my ortho at 8:30. He said I need an MRI on my spine. Called one of the labs for me and told me if I can make it there within 15 minutes, then they will see me before the other patients. There you go. There's another story. That's from my wife. Results from radiologist 2 days later. Yeah, that's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts. In a good way. Scope Airways. So, Stephen, any UK citizen in receipt of UK pension is entitled to GESY via the S1 for themselves and also for a spouse, whether the spouse is receiving pension or not. Yeah, which is, I think, what this was saying on here. If I just go back to this, it was the S1 on here, wasn't it? There you go. That one there. So, yeah. If you're a pensioner and you're worried about it, there is a way forward. In fact, actually, I think, Joanne, if you're on this, I think you'd ask me a question, and I know that there was a certain medicine that you were looking at. So it might be that you won't have a problem when you come over. If you can get registered on this S1 form, then actually you might be able to get a similar service to what you're getting back in the UK, which would be cool. What else is there? I've lost my space. Here we go. The only qualification needed for the aliens registration is the alien registration certificate number. Cool. All right. Thanks for that. Didn't know that. I can't remember what we did now because the thing is as well, just to clarify. So I have a different card to what a lot of people will have. So I probably shouldn't show you this because of the numbers. I can show you the back of it. But anyway, I will read it out. It says family member EU Art 10 DIR 2004. So basically, I've got a family member sort of residency, basically the equivalent of me having a yellow slip because my wife's Polish. And it means that I get on GESY and everything through that mechanism. So my life became very simple out here very quickly. Well, I thought it was coming out on a pink slip and I was preparing for that and then didn't need it in the end. Right. What else we got? Got Asha. Had 2 blood tests done, all of them walk-ins. A few hours later, had the results on my email. Yeah, there you go. Another one. Philip, NHS was once great. It's now on its knees. Snails move faster. Yeah. Martin, I don't believe I alone can qualify for GESY. However, I did see on your list that as a family member, I could apply on the back of Sandra's EU passport once we are residents. Yeah. Yeah, you can. So that's the whole point. So what you've got there, Martin, is a very similar situation to what I have with Asha, because Asha's an EU citizen. She has a Polish passport. She's got the Polish ID card and everything else. She's also got a British passport, but that's irrelevant. The fact that we're married, she's got everything she needs to just come over here as an EU citizen. She's got the right to work. She's got the right to healthcare, all that free movement of thing that we had prior to Brexit. Now, for me, because I'm her spouse, I have access to all of that. So you will have the same from Sandra. You'll have the same thing. You'll have to apply for it, which is why you end up having to have the insurance and things when you first come over. But yeah, you'll be able to access all of that. I'm sure, like 99% sure you'll be able to access all of that. And in fact, I can put you in touch with the guy that sorted ours out and then he can help you with yours. What was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. It was great when it's live, isn't it? Because I can't cut this bit out. If I think about it, I will reply. If I remember, I'll reply. So what I was going to say. And yellow, hi Mark, it's my mother-in-law. Jesh Mamor. Ted, hi Mark. Do you know the Larnaca area? More options to fly via airport Larnaca. Right. Do I know the Larnaca area? A little bit. It would be remiss of me to say yes. What do you want to know about the Larnaca area? I can tell you what I know, but it will be more from a tourist perspective, having visited, than it will be from somebody that lives there. What I will say though is that it's somewhere we were looking to live. So I know a bit about it. I can show you some stuff tonight. What do you want to know? Tell me, give me a question and I will answer what I can. So more options to fly. Okay. Well, actually, so you mentioned about the airport, more options than via Paphos. Probably. Larnaca seems to be, if you want to go east, you want to go to the Middle East or you want to go further east, you seem to be able to fly to more of those places from Larnaca. I go back to the UK, we go to Poland. It's a mix of either Paphos or Larnaca. We just do whatever's convenient in terms of timings and things that we want. But we live near Paphos and it's been absolutely fine. People that live near Larnaca, I'm sure it's absolutely fine. Like I say, for those of you traveling around Europe, you can get flights to either. Quite often, Larnaca can be cheaper as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, you can definitely fly. But yeah, ask me if you've got a specific question, Ted. I'll see if I can answer it tonight. Philip, how much does a blood test cost if you are private? That is a great question. I'm going from memory here, Philip. When I first went to get some blood tests done, I'm trying to think when I went now. There was something I needed to get done. I can't remember why. This was about 18 months ago. And the blood tests on GESY cost me €12. When I first went in, they said I didn't have a referral on the system. And I said, oh, it's okay. I will go and speak to my GP and get the referral put in the system. And they said, no, it's okay. You can just do it now and we can just pay privately. I said, how much is it private? And they said €70. So I can't remember how many tests. It must have been 12 different tests that they were doing for it to charge me €12. So 12 was going to cost €70, which I know. Where's my calculator? Here we go. 70. No, that's completely wrong. Got another calculation on there. Let's just £5.83. Sorry, €5.83 a blood test instead of €1 is my guess based on what they've said. I don't know for sure. Like I say, they were going to charge me 70, but I didn't. I just went away, texted my GP. They came back with the referrals, and I came back in like a day or two later and just paid €12. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. but I don't know the exact cost, and it could vary per clinic as well. So, for example, my vitamin D test that I just did last week, that isn't on GESY. I paid €30 for that one test, but I don't know why that's not covered on GESY. I don't know if it's a special type of thing that they need to do. I don't know, but that one test cost me €30. But like I say, for 12, they were going to charge me 70. So Jeff waited 15 weeks for an urgent MRI following a referral from a physio. I was told that all referrals get reassessed, and for some reason, mine was downgraded. God bless the NHS. The crazy thing is, Jeff, if it was urgent, it would be quicker for you to literally jump on a plane, fly out here, walk in off the street, get your test done, and fly home, and you'd get the results within a week. That's the crazy thing. So, medical tourism for speed, definitely you could come out here, no problem. Same with dentistry, actually. I've got a friend in the UK that's a dentist, and we were talking about the prices and the differences between Cypriot dentists versus UK dentists. And there's lots of regulations for him that we don't need to follow out here. I say we, I'm not a dentist, but there's lots of regulations that he needs to follow, a certain number of people on site and all the rest of it. Whereas out here, the dentists, they can be a one-man band. So if I call up my dentist, great guy, he will answer the phone. When you turn up, he's there in the reception, he'll take the payment. And when he's done all of that as well, he will be the guy that's in the operating theatre around the room, and he does everything. He answers the phones, takes the payments, does the work. He does everything, does all the x-rays, and it's a fraction of the cost of the UK, to the point where one of my friends who was getting some work done in the UK, he was going to pay, well, he did pay quite a small fortune to get some dental work done. It was like some root canal thing or whatever. And it worked out that it was going to be cheaper for him to fly to Cyprus, albeit he could have stayed with us. So, if you're doing this on medical tourism, you'd end up staying in a hotel or an Airbnb or something. But he could have flew to Cyprus, stayed for the weekend, got his dental work done, flew back, and it was going to be about half the cost of the UK. It's like a no-brainer. So anyway, Mike, yes, Joanne should get her medication on GESY once we get an S1, but we're not that old yet. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. But if you get permanent residency over here, I can't remember exactly your circumstances if you were looking to buy or not. But if you get permanent residency over here anyway, Mike, then you'd be able to do it that route as well. So it's not completely out of the question yet, but it depends on, I can't remember exactly what you were going to do, but it would depend on how you're coming across as well. SRWMC Adam. Hi, Mark. Very reassuring on routine healthcare in Cyprus. Wondering how Cyprus compares for emergency healthcare, ambulance response, A&E waiting times, corridor beds. UK is very poor on these. Steve. That is a great question, Steve. I'll tell you what. If ever I go into A&E, I'll make a commitment. If ever I go into A&E, I'll try and do a live stream from the ambulance. I don't know, actually. Asha, do you know anybody that's had to go into A&E? I know we've had friends that have gone into hospital. Do we know anybody that's gone into A&E? I can't think of anything, Steve. I actually can't think of anything. I don't know, and I don't want to give you a false sense of security. I don't know. You see ambulances driving around for sure. What I will say is, though, in fact, let's go to the map for this. Let's just go. So let's just go to just the normal map. Oh, take terrain off. I just want to go to the normal map, take terrain off. There we go. Right. So if you're in Paphos and you type in hospital, there'll be a load of them. And there's loads of these medical centres, and a lot of them operate privately. You've got the general hospital, which is where I think you go with A&E. This gets a bad reputation. You can see it's like 2.5 there. This gets a bad reputation, cobwebs in the corners and stuff like that that we know from people that have been into hospital. The one I went to was ISIS. Where is it? This one. I was in the ISIS hospital, this private hospital there. Gets 3.9. If you want to know what that was like, I did do a video about the actual operation that I had, and I would talk to you through what that was really like. And it was okay. It was a bit weird. It was a bit like a horror movie set. But anyway, that's where I went. And you've got these other ones. You've got Evangelist is supposed to be quite good, even though 3.5 seems to get less. But anyway, you have these health centres around here. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, if you wanted to go up and stay up near Polis, where a lot of people will go because the property's cheaper up here and everything else, you've literally got one hospital. Now, yes, it gets 4.6, but when you click on this, I've never been to this hospital. From what I understand, it looks pretty lovely. That's not what I understand at all. Yeah. Okay, that's more like it. Right. It's a little hospital is kind of the point I was trying to make. So what will happen is if you ended up needing emergency care, you're going to get blue lighted all the way down here to Paphos. And that's going to be about a 40-minute drive, maybe a 50-minute drive. Or maybe if you're on blue lights, it won't be because you're on blue lights. So whether you get airlifted over, I don't know, because I don't know where the helicopters are and stuff like that. You know, I know there's helicopters in the forests and things, but anyway, the point is your emergency healthcare is going to be you're going to be higher risk if you're in the Polis area versus if you're in Paphos. And it'll be the same thing in Limassol, right? You're going to go to Limassol. There's going to be loads of hospitals around here, right? Loads of them. So if you're around this area, you're going to be fine. You come over to Larnaca, it's going to be fine as well because there's Larnaca hospitals and stuff there. I've been into the Larnaca hospital, been into various different places around here. So that's all fine. And then Nicosia, I've had some work done up here as well, which is where I did my first MRI scan. So the point is there's loads of hospitals in the big cities, but if you start going towards the outskirts, it's like Paralimni seems to be a place that a lot of people are interested in. And you've got all these hospitals. I don't know what they're like, but it's just something to bear in mind. This has got them. It's near Ironapa, which maybe the hospitals around here are good, but it's something to bear in mind when it comes to A&E and things like that. If you've got accident and emergency in Paphos, we're fine. But like I say, if you were living further afield or you live further inland, it's going to be more of a risk for sure. That's a really long way of saying I don't know the answer to your question, Steve. Right, where have we got? We've got to. There we go. Right, Karen, do you, if you can get access to UK prescription medication in Cyprus? I'm thinking of asking my GP for a few months' supply when we eventually come over, just in case. Right, let me just try and read that question. I'm going to assume you're asking, do you know if you can get access to UK prescription medication in Cyprus? I'm going to say no. And that's not no, I don't know. That's no, you won't be able to access it because they're two different systems. The NHS is totally separate to GESY. They do not share information. So I had a blank medical record when I came here. There will be certain things that you will need to have passed over when it comes to immigration. It's certainly if you're a third country national, you have to have the infectious diseases tests and things like that. Make sure you haven't got HIV, Hep B, or anything like that. So there will be some tests that you need to do as part of immigration. But any UK medical history, you're not going to have out here. So your prescriptions won't carry over. You'll need to go and see a GP here. That said, depending on what it is, I've been into GPs. No, I haven't. That's a lie. I've been into pharmacies. And in fact, actually, I don't know if Johnny's on tonight, but Johnny was asking a question on Facebook the other day about why are there so many pharmacies in Cyprus? Like everywhere you go, there's pharmacies all over the island. And there's a couple of reasons for it. Certainly around payer as well, but there's a couple of reasons for it. The first one is the pharmacies out here, they are very much independent. So you don't have like chains of them. So you haven't got like a Boots, you haven't got a Lloyd's pharmacy or anything like that. They're all kind of independent. So they're all competing for business. But when you go in, they're all extremely knowledgeable. Like I've not been into a pharmacy where you can't have a medical conversation with the people behind the till. They all seem to be really qualified. And I've gone in before, like we hadn't been here for that long, and I'd gone in and I'd got this like rash and whatever it was. And I'd gone in and explained it to me. Just going, hey, look, haven't been to the doctors yet, but is there any cream we can get for this rash? And they asked me about the symptoms and everything else. And basically they said, sure, take this cream. They said, it's supposed to be on prescription, but yeah, it's fine. They just sold it to me over the counter. It's a steroid cream, right? So you could buy prescription stuff over the counter. They would sell it to you. And I guess they thought I was a tourist. They probably thought I just didn't live there. And so if tourists are getting ill, they're not necessarily going to a GP. You've got a lot of tourists going, and then they will buy prescription medicines. So it depends what it is as to whether or not you could buy it again here. what I would say is, if you're open to it, send me the name of the medication and I'll see if I can buy it over the counter and send you a price. Ping me on Instagram or something. It might take me a little while to find out, but next time I'm in the pharmacy or whatever, I can just ask the information for you and I will come back to you on Instagram or something. But definitely you won't be able to bring your prescription over. They're going to want to do their own checks, but you might be able to just buy it over the counter. And worst case, get the NHS to prescribe you more because you're going away. I know they do that. My dad used to travel a lot for work and he would be away for sort of 3 or 6 months at a time. And so anything that he was on, they would just give him a bigger prescription for the time he was away. So they can definitely do it. You just get a bigger prescription in the UK if that's a concern. Martin, perfect. Thanks, Mark. Just cannot wait to sell our house and make that move. I know, right? I'm guessing you haven't had any joy with that yet, because otherwise you'd have said. But yeah, hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. Yeah, Lang, I collapsed in Coral Bay. Holy crap. Ambulance arrived in 20 minutes, taken Paphos Hospital, was seen immediately, placed on a drip, placed in bed, on ward, all after heart tests. Absolutely fantastic service. Wow, that's good to know. I hope you're all right now. I mean, clearly you're alive because you're typing, unless this is it's clearly not your ghost. I'm glad you're okay, but that's awesome. I didn't. So yeah, you're the first person I've known then that's got blue lighted in. Do you know which hospital you went to out of interest? Was it the Paphos General Hospital or was it somewhere else? The interest is now actually. We can show people tonight which hospital it was. I'm not sure you can request it though. You can't. I don't know if you can be in the back of an ambulance and they're going to go. It's like when I lived in Leicestershire. I always wanted to go to George Eliot Hospital as opposed to Leicester Royal Infirmary. But I'm not sure you can request it. If it's an emergency, they're just going to take you. So, like, no, don't go to Leicester. Turn around. Steve, my non-GESY blood tests cost £172 at Paphos General Hospital in March. Whoa. Okay. That's expensive. How many did you have done? I'm going to assume it wasn't 172 different tests. Wowzers, that's expensive. Lee, evening Mark, missed the first part tonight as we attempted to drive down to the Paphos Festival. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys have arrived. Well, you clearly have arrived safely. I hope you're enjoying it so far. And yeah, hey Lee, hey Lou. Yeah, for those who don't know, they've just moved. Arrived in Cyprus yesterday. Lock, stock, and full smoking and 2 smoking barrels. So you're here now for good. Which is awesome because we're going to look at doing a Cyprus Unfiltered meetup. And I said I'm going to start doing it at the first of the month. Well, not the first of the month. That's a lie. The first weekend of the month, I was going to start doing a Cyprus Unfiltered meetup. And I actually need to get a bit more organized on this. I had a really busy week this week with work and everything else. And so I haven't quite got organized to the point I wanted to be in. But what I'm going to do is we'll probably settle into a home somewhere. But for now, I'm assuming that the first meetups are going to be relatively unattended anyway. It's probably just going to be me. It'd just be me sat on the own going, yeah, Cyprus Unfiltered. So I will see. But I'm probably going to look to do something maybe next Saturday. And for anybody that is around, anybody that's on the island, anybody that wants to meet up, I've got to figure out how to get a notification out actually, because you all watch me live on a Sunday night and then I haven't really got a way of contacting people. I will put a post up. I'll do it on Facebook. Will I do it on Facebook? I'm going to get everybody attending from Facebook. Well, I guess that's kind of the point. I'll put a post up on Facebook. I can put a post up on YouTube because I can do posts on there. And I'm going to figure out a way of having your contact details offline so that we can do more stuff like this, so that actually we can just link people up. Because, yeah, I'll have a think. But next Saturday, so what's that? Saturday, the 6th of June, we're going to do something somewhere, and I will put notification out as to where we'll meet up. We'll go meet up somewhere, probably like 11, 12 o'clock. We'll meet up around lunchtime. And we'll just go and do a few drinks somewhere, go get some coffees or whatever. If people want to do lunch, that's cool. Like I say, nothing in it for me other than to meet you kind people. So we'll go out, it'll all be self-funded. We'll just do our own thing, eat what you want, drink what you want, whatever. And we can link up. And for those of you that are on the island, like I say, if you want to come, you're more than welcome to come. And if you don't, then it'll just be me. And that's fine. I don't need an excuse to go out and have a drink in the sun. So there we go. Perrier Lang. I know, we've done that one. Welcome to 5 minutes ago, Mark. Oh wow, these are jumping around. Oh, right. loving the interaction, but I keep losing my spots. um, right. Prayer Lang. Okay. Total cost for 2 nights in hospital plus all treatments, €20. That's cheaper than a hotel. If anybody wants a cheap night out in Paphos, just come and break a leg. I don't know. Sorry, I shouldn't make light of it, really. Don't do that. That's a really stupid idea. Just go and stay in an Airbnb. Asha, I went dentist on Wednesday, non-GESY. A non-GESY clean is €40. Told me I need to consider an implant for a tooth I lost 2 months ago. Said it would be around 1,000 to €1,200. You didn't tell me that. I didn't know that. I'm learning tonight. See, me and my wife don't talk. We're just going to talk on this. We'll talk on YouTube Live. That's more entertaining for everybody, isn't it? So €40 for a clean. I remember that because I remember getting my teeth cleaned before we were on GESY. So on GESY, actually, unlike the UK where dental treatment is all paid for after the age of, I think it's 18, with GESY, you get a free clean, like a maintenance clean, every year. So anybody that's on GESY, you can just go to the dentist. If the dentist is registered on GESY, you can just say, hey, I got a free clean, and he'll just do it for free. That's quite cool. But otherwise, dentist work isn't covered on GESY. Interestingly, though, you're saying it's 1,000 to €1,200. What we could do, rather than doing an implant, we could send you to Turkey. We could get you some Turkish teeth. We'll probably get all of them done. And you won't need implants. I shouldn't make fun of that, really, should I? You'll glow in the dark. It'd be great. Anyway, sorry, right. Alex, list of destinations out of Larnaca is bigger than Paphos. Just depends where you're flying to, e.g. had a direct flight to Barcelona for Larnaca earlier in May, not an option from Paphos. No, exactly. There are places, Larnaca is, it's a bigger airport. It's a much bigger airport. When you go, it is a much bigger airport to get into. I really like Paphos Airport, though, because for those of you that haven't been, let's just make it interactive here. Let's just do this. When you go to Paphos Airport, you'll come down this road here. Let me just get rid of that. You'll come down this road here, and it's actually quite cool because it's a military airport. As you come down here, you've got the entrance to the barracks here. And they did an open day last summer. They did an open day, and you could come in and you could come down into there and you come down to the hangars. And they did, yeah, you come down this way and literally all around here. No, there it was down here. Yeah, there it was. Because you can see the planes part, they're all the military planes. So we were here, you were going in and out there. They've got all these helicopters and planes on display and drones and all this other stuff. And then across here, they'd got flyovers with helicopters doing stuff, and the helicopters were just hovering and doing kind of like a display, basically. And it's quite cool. So it was the first time we'd been in. But yeah, they opened up the military part of Paphos Airport. It was really cool. But yeah, the actual airport in Paphos is so cool. And I'll tell you why I like it. And I'll tell you why when I go back to the UK, and you'll find this, that when people that move out here, when you go back to the UK, things will just start to really annoy you. And it's the little things. Like if you go to Birmingham Airport, I don't know what the cost is these days, but I think it was something ridiculous. Like it cost you a few quid to drop somebody off. Like you can't drive in, stop, and let somebody out and drive off without it costing you money. Everything costs you money, and everything's really expensive. When you come to Paphos Airport, it was only, not last summer, I think it was the summer before. So what's that, about 18 months ago? 18 months ago, they started charging you for parking. Otherwise, you could park in here for the first 15 minutes for free. Now, when I say park in here, let's see if the little man works. It kind of does. Right, well, let's just drop him here. Well, it didn't work, did it? That's rubbish. Let's try again. What a tease. You guys can see this, right? The little man hasn't paid parking. They won't let him in the car park. Anyway, so you can park here, and it's like you go past this little coffee shop here, and you literally can like walk into the airport about 30 seconds. And this used to be free. Now it costs you €1. If you want to drop somebody off, it costs you €1. But if you don't want to pay the euro and you just want to drop somebody off, let's see if this guy works. There we go. So yeah, you come up this way, and that way takes you into the car parks. You can go in there, pay €1. But if you don't want to pay €1, you can literally come down here and you drive right up to the airport front. And normally you're on this side of the cones. For some reason, you're normally on this side anyway. And whenever my wife drops me off, if I'm coming to the UK for work, we just stop pretty much here. Oh, actually, let's go back. Let's back up. Literally just stop anywhere here. And if you've got cars behind you, they'll just wait. You take your bags out and then you go to the airport there. That's it. Done. And if you don't want to, if you want to pay euro, you can go and park just there. And it's cheap. And then if you don't want to do that, if you want to stay, if you want to go away for the week, then you have to go to the long stay parking like you would do in the UK because it's going to be cheaper, right? So you've got the normal parking here. And if you want to go long stay, well, that's here. It's about a 3-minute walk to the terminal, right? And then you've got these ones down here as well. But thing is, you can even park down this road right outside the airport. Now you think you go to East Midlands, you go to Luton, and within what feels like a freaking 50-mile radius of the airport, if you stop, if you park up, if you do anything, you get a fine. But here, you can park in there, and then they put yellow lines down there now. Well, you see cars parked down there. You see cars parked. Nobody seems to care. This is. I think must be that new. No, 2021. Maybe they've taken it away. Maybe they've taken it away since then. This was before we even moved here. So you see cars parked down there, and people will just park, or you can just park in here. But anyway. So thinking about Paphos Airport. Interestingly, actually, I'll tell you a little bit about driving. When you come here and they talk about the roads in Cyprus, right? You've got the rules of the road, you've got the laws of the road, and there is a road near it. In fact, sorry, we're going to go back to the map. This is probably of interest to about 3 people watching, but it's interesting to me, so keep watching. Only interesting to me because I find it quite funny. So you come to, let's just get off the satellite view a second. You come to Kato Paphos and come down here. Right. So you come around this road. This road here, you're not allowed to turn right there, right? When you're coming the other way, because when you're coming down this road and you come here, hey, look, you'll see they've got some barriers up. Got these barriers here, yeah? You're not supposed to turn right. But can you see there's a couple of them that are squashed? And let's just go there. There's some of them that are squashed there, right? So the Cypriots, they don't seem to care that you can't turn right. You've got the sign there. They don't seem to care that you don't turn right. And what happens is they just run over the barriers. So the road authority, they've put the barriers there, people run over them. They've put these big, solid, like rubber, plastic things there with cat eyes and all the rest of it, big reflectors. What happens? People just run over them. So I've seen 2 or 3 different attempts at stopping you from turning right on this bit of road. And people they don't care. They're like, no, I want to turn right. So they turn right and they just run over all the barriers. So now they've just taken them all the way and they've just left a sign there saying you can't turn right, but everybody turns right there. It's random. But anyway, there you go. There's a little bit about driving in Cyprus. But the airport, again, Paphos Airport is a nice small airport compared to Larnaca. That's why we got into this. Paphos Airport is a nice small airport. And if you travel to the UK and it's off season, like when you're not in tourist season, you're just traveling. I've walked into the airport. In fact, when I went in March, I was in the UK in March. I walked into the airport and I think I was flying TUI. And I walked in and there was 4 people at the counter. And they were all TUI staff. So I walked in, just chatting to everybody, like, hey, having a chat. And then I went through to security and there was nobody else there. It was just me walking through security. It's really eerie to walk through an airport that's empty. And then you go through security and I go through then to the passport control. And I'm the only person there. And I'm just chatting to the passport control guy, having a bit of a laugh, and just go through into the airport. Like that just doesn't seem to happen anywhere in the UK. Everywhere in the UK always seems to be busy, always seems to be expensive. Everything just seems to be manic. And Paphos Airport, by comparison, just feels so easy. Now, granted, if you come in peak season, it's not going to be. It's going to be chaos with tourists and everything else. But Larnaca is different. Larnaca is a much bigger airport compared to Paphos. So it stands to reason that you're going to get more flights there. But like I say, you'll go to different locations as well. We've got friends flying in. I think they're coming in from the US, but they're going to fly to, I think, Heathrow, and then they're going to land, I think, in Larnaca. Not sure now. But anyway, you get more flights from Larnaca for sure. But we can get to where we want to in either airport. So we typically go with what time suits us best, and then it can be down to price. So, Asha, we don't know anyone that needed to use A&E. Sorry. Okay, that's cool. We know somebody on the call tonight, so that's all right. Railway History UK, Steve. So I collapsed in Timmy on the way to the airport to fly home. Bloody hell. Okay. Ambulance arrived quickly. Paphos General, not so great. Dumped in corridor for hours. Oh. Well, first of all, sorry to hear that. Secondly, glad you're okay now, seemingly. Thirdly, as I said, I've heard bad things about Paphos General Hospital, cobwebs in the corners and stuff like that. It doesn't seem to be the cleanest. In fact, they had torrential rain last year, and when the roof all caved in fact, let me show you this. Paphos General Hospital roof leak. Was it 2024? Wow, I'll tell you what. Yeah, 2020. I thought it was last year. Time goes fast. Anyway, the hospital, basically all the roof. Oh, okay, all the roof caved in one part of the hospital. So there you go. That was the hospital flooded because the roof came and the rain was that heavy back in October 2024. And when the rain comes, like, in fact, actually, I think, yeah, that was the year. If you looked at the roads, there you go. There's your hospital for you. So, yeah, the roads that year, I remember because we had some friends come out. Basically, Paphos was flooded. It was ridiculous. Like Paphos, Tomb of the Kings area, it was like driving through a river because when the rain comes, it can come really quick, like flash floods. In fact, yeah, because we'd gone to the other side of the island and we were driving back and we missed all the floods, but we saw it. We just saw the debris when we came back, but we missed all the floods and we saw the carnage of it. But anyway, yeah, so that's that. And there we go. I'll turn that off. It's going to sit there distracting me now in the background and get rid of that. Ted, how do Larnaca and Paphos compare in terms of infrastructure, amenities, the real estate market, and tourism? What about expats, and what made you choose Paphos instead of Larnaca? Ooh, lots of questions to unpack there, Ted. Well, okay, so we're going to go to the map. We're going to keep this interactive. So, for those of you that aren't familiar, Larnaca is on the other side of the island here, where my mouse is. You can see that I'm not covering it, which is good. Paphos on the west coast. You get Larnaca over here. So, where you've got Larnaca, in terms of, so let's just unpack some of this question. So, where are you starting? Oh, I've lost it. Infrastructure, amenities, real estate. Okay. So, in terms of infrastructure is very similar, as in, the roads, there's no public transport and everything. You get the same, you get taxis, you get buses, stuff like that. Internet is kind of all the same out there. It's all relatively high speed internet because I was looking into it before we moved out here because I work remotely. So I needed to make sure I got fast internet. There aren't any trains on the island anyway, so you're not going to get trains. And so the road infrastructure is fine. What you will find though, and in fact, if I go to the terrain view, this side of the island, so if I zoom out, you can see the mountains here. So you've got the mountains Troodos here, you've got the mountains on the north part of the island there. And Paphos, where we live, for those of you that have been to Tala, Paya, you'll see the hills. You get amazing views, but it's kind of all hilly this side. It's all bit rocky, bit hilly. And I think part of this is why there's so many stone beaches on this side of the island, because there's a lot of stone beaches. You do get sandy beaches for sure, but quite often when it's just natural and it's not kind of geared up for tourists, there's a lot of stony beaches. You get stony beaches down here as well, down by Pisori and places. But then you come over this side of the island where it's all flat, and the beaches around Ayia Napa, where you've got Nissi Beach, or this side of the island, the beaches are, I would say, nicer. They're sandy. The water's nice. I mean, there's a blue lagoon over here. You've got two blue lagoons, really. You've got this one here, right on this east coast. Oh, am I covering it though? You've got this here, right on the east coast, and you've got the blue lagoon over here on the west coast, just up there. And so, infrastructure-wise, it's fine. The beaches and tourism and everything, it's quite nice. And we've been to Larnaca. I like going to Larnaca because it feels very cosmopolitan. There's lots of interesting things here. So if I just take the little man, I'm going to stick him here on the seafront. So basically this is one way. When you come down here, this will be So there's one way and I'm going backwards. So you come around this corner, you've got the marina here. You've got like all the boats and stuff, which you can go in. Well, you can't go into boats, but you can go to the marina and you can keep going across, keep going across. Where's the entrance? Somewhere. Oh, there it is. Right. And you can do boat trips and stuff like that. And you can have a wander around there. And then on this side, you've got this big open area here. Now, if you go down here at the Christmas market, there'll be a big Ferris wheel here, and you've got all the Christmassy type things and the markets and the stalls and stuff like that. And the thing is, you can come down here. So actually, I think today, actually, because it's bank holiday here in Cyprus tomorrow, I was talking about bank holidays a couple of videos ago. There's like 15 of them versus 8 in the UK. The bank holiday that's tomorrow, Larnaca celebrates it a lot more than other parts of the island. Don't really understand why. I haven't really read into it because I'm working tomorrow. I'm not bank holiday because I'm working UK times. So, but this will be heaving right now. This will be heaving with stalls and everything else. And in fact, if I just type on here, Larnaca Festival, what's a festival? Festival. Let's do that. You get much better results. So they've got the marathon because there was somebody who was talking about that recently, but you got that. And then like all down the seafront, it can be really busy. There's loads of stuff going on, but like I say, it can just feel really cosmopolitan. They're clearly doing something there. Do Larnaca Christmas. And again, there you go. So there's your Ferris wheel and stuff like that. So in terms of what's it like, there's a lot happening there, right? You've got lots going on down the seafront, loads of kind of international restaurants. You've got the KFCs, the McDonald's and stuff like that. There's some cool coffee shops. There's some sports bars that we're being in. We came down here, we were watching, my wife was watching the volleyball in a sports bar down here, and that was just filled with one of the Polish group and stuff like that. And it was quite cool. But anyway, so in terms of things to do, it's nice. The beaches, as you can kind of see, they're all sandy. So again, the beaches are really nice. And fundamentally, it's a really nice area. Now, that's not where you're going to live. It's a bit like saying you're not going to live at Paphos Harbour. So where were we looking to live when we were looking to move over here? Well, we were looking to live in Kitty and around Kitty, this place here. I really like Kitty. It's a nice kind of little place. And if I just stick this little guy down, you've got the cobbled streets. It feels very kind of traditional. And let's just come up here. Look at that pharmacy. I told you, there's pharmacies everywhere. Little coffee shop on the corner. And it was just very nice, actually. It just felt very quirky. In fact, hold on a minute. Is that car park on the left? No. So I thought I've been around here somewhere. So there's a couple of people from here that I met who've been watching me online, and we met up in Larnaca actually a while back. But anyway, so Kitty was quite nice. So I quite like Kitty. But in terms of demographic, so I will just say it how it is because Cyprus Unfiltered, right? So I'm just going to say how it is. What I found when we were on this side of the island, and it feels like the more east you go, the closer you are to, let's just say, this part of the world, right over here, it felt less Cypriot. It didn't feel as Cypriot. It didn't feel as, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't know. It felt like there was more immigration on this side. And obviously, I'm an immigrant, right? And so you go over to Paya, of course, there's immigration there because it's all British expats. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it was people from the likes of, say, Syria. It was people from, say, Africa, places like that. Now, while inherently that's not a problem, when you look at the way things end up going, and I'm going to just go to, is it Paralimni? You got Protaris. So Protaris is on here. Paralimni, yeah, it was Paralimni. So I went to Paralimni because everybody was saying, well, not everybody, lots of people said Paralimni is great. You should go to Paralimni. It's really nice. Property's cheap over there. You're asking about the property market. Property's cheaper on this side of the island for sure, because the thing is, on this side of the island, nothing happens. Like you can go to Protaris in the winter and it is a freaking ghost town. There's nothing happening there because all the hotels are empty. And there'll be some there, but it's just a ghost town. There's no real industry on this side of the island. Nothing happens. So property ends up being cheaper. And so people were saying, "Oh, go to Paralimni, you get a load of property for your money there." This place, for whatever reason, and nothing bad has ever happened there, it was the only place really on the island so far where I felt uncomfortable. And that might just be me, right? But when I was there, the people that were walking around, the people that were just staring at me and my wife and my boy, they weren't Cypriot, they weren't British, they were just like, I actually don't know where they were from, but they were very dark skinned, right? So they definitely weren't Greek or anything like that. And while that doesn't bother me, come from England, that definitely doesn't bother me. But while that doesn't bother me, it was the way that they would just stare. And it made us feel really uncomfortable. So like I'm there with my son, and we were going around this playground, and there would just be people just staring at us. And I know that the Greeks do it. If you go to the little Cypriot villages, the Greeks stare. But that didn't feel uncomfortable. That was just oh my God, like I definitely stick out like a sore thumb, and it was fine. Don't really have a problem with it. I know I'm not local, and all of these people are local, but these were people that clearly aren't local to the island in a community of themselves. And for me, it just didn't feel nice. It didn't feel comfortable. It's not the sort of place I'd want to be walking around late at night. Now, like I say, nothing's ever happened to me there. Nothing's ever happened to me on the island. And there'll be people that have been mugged in Paphos and Coral Bay and Paya Tala. And there'll be people that have never had anything done paralimni. But I'm just saying, for me, I didn't feel comfortable. It's the only place on the island I've not really felt comfortable. So that aside, coming back to Larnaca, you do have more going on here for sure. You've got the airport, you've got Mackenzie Beach, which is great. If anybody's into aviation, anybody likes airplanes, you can come down here to Mackenzie Beach and you can. Oh, that's rubbish. On the other side, so basically all of these buildings here, they are all the buildings and the shops and the restaurants on the other side. And there's got to be something I can click onto here. Let's just go here. Maybe it's a 360 spin around. There you go. So you've got your sandy beaches. There's all your shops and your bars and your restaurants. Basically, you have the airport here and the planes literally fly right across the beach. It's super cool. Like if you want to see planes flying and landing, you can watch them all from Mackenzie Beach. It's great. So I like Larnaca. I like visiting Larnaca. Me and my boy stayed over here in a hotel about a month ago just because really like it. The other part of the question was, why did we choose Paphos over Larnaca? Well, we chose Paphos over Larnaca predominantly because when we did our trial living in 2022, we were based over this side of the island. And so what we found was that we just knew this side of the island more. And even though we'd tried it over here and we liked it and everything else, we kind of got to know this side, we got to know the schools and everything else, and we just got comfortable. There was no other way around it. If we'd have done our trial living in Larnaca, there's a good chance we'd have stayed in Larnaca because we really like it. So it was no more scientific than that. We did the trial living over here. There was something about the area we liked. We knew where we wanted to stay and we knew where we wanted to live, and that's where we live now. The other thing that you get over here, and this might not be a big consideration for people, but the thing you get on the West Coast that you don't get on the East Coast is you get sunsets every night. So obviously over here, you're going to get an awesome sunrise, but over here, you get the sunsets. And that was lovely. Plus, over here, if you want to go to Nicosia, you can. So from Larnaca to Nicosia is about 20 minutes. It's quite close. And you can get to this side of the island pretty quickly. You can come down to Limassol and everything else. But from where we are here, I can get to Limassol in about an hour, but I can also get to up here in about 40 minutes. And if I wanted to, I can come into the forest, and it's just beautiful. Like this side of the island, it's all a national park. So you've got the Akamas National Park here. You have the sea caves and stuff, which is, where we're doing property. But then like this bit above the sea caves, it's just all natural. This is where you've got the turtle beaches. You get turtles coming all down this side of the island down here. And it was just for us, we just liked it. But is Paphos better than Larnaca? I wouldn't say so. If you don't have to worry about kids and schools and everything else, you'd probably have a good time in Larnaca. What I would say is, and this is why I always say to people, come and try it. Go and try living in Larnaca. Go and just stay there for a week or so. Try living in Paphos. See what you like, because your preferences will be different to my preferences. The way you feel will be different to the way I feel. So anyway, that's a lot of waffle, a lot of talking. Hopefully it's been useful. What else have we got? Or did I answer all the questions? I think I did. Real estate market, talked about that because it's so Larnaca real estate specifically, they've got some developments going on. There are some developments going on. There's the World of Tomorrow, I think it's called. And there's a whole bunch of stuff now happening over there. Price-wise, I mean, it depends what you're looking for. Limassol is the most expensive place. Paphos and Larnaca, I think they're similar. But again, what I do find is that when I'm looking at property, if I'm on Facebook or whatever, I'll still watch and keep an eye on the property market now. When I see stuff on that side of the island, some of it looks a lot more modern and it looks probably more affordable than where we are right now. So I wouldn't say it's any more expensive than Paphos. In some areas, it's definitely cheaper. I think, there'll be statistics that will prove me wrong, I'm sure. But what I see on Marketplace, what I see on the likes of Bazaraki, you get really nice property over there, and it's not massively different to Paphos. It's Limassol, you'll see a difference for sure. So yes, hopefully that's been helpful, Ted. Okay, what else have we got? So, Steve, it makes sense to request full medical records while still in the UK under the Freedom of Information Act. This can be downloaded as a PDF and runs from birth. You are a legend. Earlier on, when I said I'd forgotten what I wanted to say, that was what I wanted to say. You can get your medical records from the NHS, and you can get it. You're saying it's a PDF. I seem to recall you can request the information. That at the time, I think they'd charge you like £10 or something. I don't know what they'll charge you these days. With inflation, it's probably going to charge you like 10 grand. I don't know, but yeah, you can request your information from the NHS anyway. But you're going to come probably with a PDF or a folder or whatever. And I don't know what they'll do with it. If you give it to the GP here, would they upload it? I don't know. Not sure. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know, but it's worth trying. If anybody's done that, or if anybody's doing that, it'd be interesting to hear. Let us know. Where are we? Martin, just relating to an earlier question relating to UK prescriptions. I ran out of one of my daily tablets whilst in payer and showed the pharmacy my NHS app, and she gave me the tablets. That's cool. That's really good. And like I say, I've had experiences where they will just sell you stuff over the counter, because at the end of the day, they're a business, and they'll just sell you stuff over the counter. I had a friend who needed something, and I just went in, bought eye drops, and I think they were prescription eye drops as well, I think, from what I remember. And again, just buy it over the counter. So there's a fair chance, Martin, if you went in and you didn't have your app and you just showed them, a picture of it, they'll go, yeah, sure, and just sell it to you, probably. Martin, 50 days of tablets for less than €3. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the cost is of medication these days in the UK, but what you'll find is that your basic medication. So I need to have a drink. I haven't gone to my like and share screen for a little while. I'm not had a drink, so I'm going to have a drink. But what you'll find, like the cost of medication in the UK, if you go into, I don't know, Tesco, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, Asda, you can go and buy paracetamol for about 16p a packet. It's like crazy cheap. You can buy paracetamol, aspirin, ibuprofen. It's all really cheap. Out here, you typically can't buy that stuff in a supermarket. You typically have to go to a pharmacist. And therefore, paracetamol will cost you several euros. So while you're saying actually €3 for 50 tablets is good, and for a lot of medication, it can be cheap, for your basic medicine, like headache tablets and stuff like that, we bring them from the UK because, they're so much cheaper in the UK than they are out here. So if you are coming, probably shouldn't say this. I'm basically encouraging, drug smuggling here. But we bring paracetamols, it's all personal use. We bring paracetamol and stuff like that. So it's just cheaper. You're paying pence back in the UK and out here, several euros. So anyway, right, so I was going to have a drink. Sorry, not freedom info. It's just a simple subject access request. Cool. Okay. Yeah, well, you can request it is the point, right? That's what you're getting at, and it's a useful point. So you can request it, and that's the main thing. Karen, thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. I'll send the details of the medication. Cool. Yeah, no worries. Can't guarantee it'll be fast. I'm a bit behind on messages at the minute. I actually do have a day life out of this, outside of this, but I will try and help any way I can. Paphos General Hospital, that's where you went. Okay, cool. That's interesting. We've got two opposing or two different experiences of Paphos General Hospital. But like I say, I've only ever heard bad things about it. So you're the first good thing I've heard about it tonight. People will say if you're going to hospital, kind of try and not go to that one. But that's interesting. If you had a good experience, that's good. Ferry Monica, hey guys, long time no see. Well, not long time no see, but anyway, Hi, Mike. As an EU citizen, sorry, hi, Mike. As EU citizen, but getting CY residency as UK employee, will be on the UK national insurance. Do you know if I can get GESY and how? Monica. So I've got to preface this by saying I'm not a specialist, but let's just have a look because I'm not a specialist. I don't sell immigration services. I don't pretend to be an expert, anything like that. I'm just a guy on the internet. So you said as an EU citizen, but getting CY residency as a UK employee. Right. So, hmm, we'll be on UK national insurance. I'm going to hazard a guess and say no, because you're not working for a Cypriot company, you're working for a UK company. They just so happen to be letting you work out here, is my guess. In which case, you're not paying tax here. You'll be paying it in the UK unless you become a tax resident here, in which case it might change. But let's just have a look on here. So, actually, no, but you are an EU citizen, right? Oh, no, you're fine. Sorry. You're an EU citizen. Yes, you'll be fine. You can get GESY. Irrespective of your working criteria, you're an EU citizen, you're fine because you get that free movement of travel. So you're absolutely fine. If you've got your EU passport, you just fill out the paperwork when you get here and you'll be absolutely fine. Sorry, I got an itchy nose. Yeah, don't need to worry about work. And that'll be for all of you as well. So you'll be fine. Alex, parking at Paphos Airport, €4 a day. Yeah, it's cheap, right? They'll charge you that for 15 minutes probably in Birmingham. It's nuts. Ted, Paphos Airport is indeed really nice. Once you understand how it works, e.g., where to get and return your rental car, it's really easy to navigate. Yeah. So the rental cars actually is quite interesting because I use a company for rental cars and I've used them since 2022. And if I've ever had car trouble or if I've needed to rent a car, like when we first came out here, rent a car, like, just use the same company because they've always given me good service. And they would meet you at the airport and they will do all the paperwork and everything else. And it's so much easier to rent a car out here than it is in the UK. In the UK, it was just such a faff. And I hate renting cars in the UK, just something I don't like doing. But when you do rent a car in the UK, it's actually really cool because I have a Cypriot license. So I don't have to prove all the faff that you guys do as a British person as British people, sorry. Because when they look at my Cypriot license, I just give them an address and they don't even check my address. I could just put anything down. Whereas I think, from what I remember in the UK, you have to prove where you live and utility bills and all this kind of faff. But I just show my Cypriot card and that's it. It's like, okay, cool. You live where you say you live. But yes, so the rental cars there, they would literally come pick you up at the airport or whatever. And when you return them, you just drive it into a slot in the car park that I showed you, the one that's right opposite the terminal. And they just turn around and say, yeah, cool, just take the keys and either put it in the boot and it kind of like lock itself or put it in the petrol cap or whatever. And it's just so easy by comparison. Ted, thanks, Mark. Very helpful info regarding Larnaca. Cool. I'm glad it is helpful. Like I say, I'm not resident there, so there's going to be a lot of things I don't know, and so I don't like to mislead, but I can give you my views on what I know. What's the time? 25 to 11. Right. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask more questions if you want, but right for now, I will just say, if you haven't given this a like already and you are finding it interesting, then please give it a like, because that seems to help YouTube out. They seem to like what I talk about, and they seem to think that if you guys like it, then more people might want to see it. And I will say what I always say, which is, look, when I first moved to Cyprus, there wasn't really anybody showing what life was really like out here, and so I keep trying to document this sort of content for everybody else that's thinking of moving out here. Just try and show a different side to what other creators are doing. Not say it's any better, not say it's any worse, just wanted to try and be different and try and be raw and unfiltered. So my only ask is, if you are liking this and you're not already subscribed, then please subscribe. And if you think somebody else will get use from it, you think somebody else will be able to benefit from the information, and you see them asking questions, then just give it a share, because I'm trying to help as many people as I can, and that would be awesome. So look, if people do want to ask more questions, I will hang around for a bit. I've got quite a bit of energy tonight. So if you want to ask more questions, ask away. I will answer them in the chat, but for now I'm just going to leave this up for another 10 seconds or so, and I'm going to have a drink. Okay, break time over. Let's go back to the questions. What have we got? Martin, what was the process to get a CY driving license? Can't remember. No, let me think. So let me do what I always do, which is waffle. Let me go to the maps. This is going to jog my memory. So to get your driving license, you have to go down to the road transport department. I know that. And the road transport department is, you come down here, it's just here on Misoggy Road. For those of you who know Misoggy Road, it's where you get all the furnitures, it's where Sports Direct is and everything else. So you come down on here, and now we can do the drive. So you got Misoggy Road there, and then you turn down here and you come all the way to the end, and it looks like you're going into an industrial estate, and then you come, oh, keep going. Yeah, it's this here. Can I show you this? Well, basically, excuse me, kind of behind here is the road transport one. Let me just, where is he? Can I get a little man anywhere here? Yes, I can. Cool. So you'll come down here. There you go. Right. So you will queue outside this building here. And there's always a queue. There always seems to be a queue. And you'll come here, and this is where you get your car registered and everything else. So for those of you that were asking about my car guy, the car guy works in this building here, and he helps you get your car registered on Cypriot plates if you're bringing something over from the UK. Now, in here, there is a desk, and there's a desk, and this is the desk with the happiest man in the world who works there. I don't think he was ever taught to smile, and I don't think he's ever used the smiling muscles. Whenever I've gone in, the guy just looks like he hates life. So I always try and make him smile. That was always my thing, to try and make him smile. I've not succeeded. Anyway, so you come in here, you've got the happiest man in the world that works there. And we went in and we told him we wanted to exchange our license. And then we had to fill in some forms. And then once you've queued to that desk, you then had to come out and you queue again. And there's some more desks on the right-hand side. And so then you queue for the desks on the right-hand side. And then you go and get your photo taken and everything else. And they take your photo, you surrender your UK license. That's right. So you surrender your UK license at that point, and then they give you a bit of paper as the receipt. So if you get pulled over by the police, you've then got a bit of paper that says, "Hey, you can drive," right? And something like that. I can't remember I don't know if I've still got the bit of paper. Actually, I might have to have a look, see if I've got the bit of paper. I can show you guys on a photo or something. And then, from what I recall, it takes about 3 weeks or so for your driving license to come through. It's like 2 or 3 weeks for the driving license to come through. And then you queue back up. You see the happiest man in the world, and your driving license is in an envelope there. And you ask for it, and it's like you've taken the jam out of his donut, and he's really upset, and you kind of leave feeling guilty that you've just asked him to do his job. And you go away, and you've got your driving license, and it's all good. Now, that's for the driving license. While we're here, I will just show you. I can go around the back. When you're trying to get your car, oh, it's gone sunny. Oh, we're in a garden. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, we can see what we need to see. So when you come and you're trying to get your car registered on Cypriot plates, you will have to come here. Now, this is the other side. So where we were just wearing the car park is on the other side of this porter cabin. Now, when you're coming down to get the car registered, the first time I queued up in that big long queue, and then they basically send you to the other end of this corridor, right? So the other end of this corridor is where you go. And they send you down there, and we're all queuing outside this door, and they're telling you you've got to go to this door. It's like, the fourth door on the right or whatever it is. But it's always locked. It's always locked. And so we're queuing now. I didn't really know what to do, kind of standing around like lemons. And this is where you find government buildings. It's kind of like not particularly, well, not just government buildings, actually. It's sort of like the processes are a bit loose, and you kind of just go, okay, I'm waiting down here. And you're just waiting. You're like, what are we waiting for? I'm like, not really sure. But anyway, long story short, you end up coming out of this door, or we end up coming out this door, and then this garage door here, this one on the right, is open. It's pretty much always open. And you go in, and then you kind of walk into the garage, and then there's like another set of offices on the right-hand side in the garage, and you walk in that way, and then you just tell somebody that you're here to see, I don't know, George, you're just making it up, but you go and see, I think it was George in there actually, you go and see George in there, And then it goes, cool, and you just stand and wait. And there's literally the door that's locked that you're trying to get through initially, and that's just there locked. And then occasionally somebody will go through, they unlock it, go through, and they lock it again. But anyway, that's how you get in. And then that's where you get your car registered. And then this is where they do the checks. And you do see some interesting cars in here sometimes because you get cars coming in, they're getting registered and everything else. And we came in here once, and the Tyler train that comes around at Christmas is like this little petrol engine diesel or petrol diesel. That's a conflict, isn't it? His little petrol EV. There's this little train. I don't know if it was diesel or petrol or what, but anyway, it's a little thing. And that was in here once, and you just like see some little quirky cars sometimes. So yeah, but that's how you get your car registered. So you come to the same place. So you go around the front to get your driving license, and if you're getting a car registered when you bring it over, you end up coming in here and getting that all sorted. When I was doing that, they told me I needed to get an MOT, and I didn't realize I needed to get an MOT. Well, I did, but I just didn't know when and where. And so then they gave me the details of a garage. And I think, was it this guy here? No. Aluminium Systems. It was literally like just down the road. Where is it? Just type MOT because MOT, sure, it's just down there. I don't know, MOT testing station, right. And let's just stick a little guy down there. See if this is the one. MOT test centre. Oh, yeah, it was the one. Yeah, this one here. Right. So from the road transport place, they then sent me here to get an MOT done. And I was like, oh, crap, I need to book my car in for an MOT. Much like the doctors, it was like a walk-in service. And I said, so-and-so from road transport has sent me down. And I'm thinking, it's Cyprus. Everybody knows everybody. I'm about to get fleeced here. And I'm going, oh God, I should have booked in somewhere. I should have asked for a recommendation. These guys are going to charge me like €500 for an MOT or whatever. Anyway, we went in, took the car in, and it was just like a drive-in place. And they said, yeah, cool, we can get it done straight away. Charged me like €40. And that was it. Done. MOT certificate. Went back to the garage where it was getting registered. Gave the guys the MOT certificate, and that was it. Kind of all done. Thought, sweet. Happy days. Anyway, that's a long answer to your question, Martin, but hopefully that helps. Who else? Philip. Cyprus is known to have a low crime rate. Out of curiosity, are there any prisons on the island, or do they ship all the criminals to Devil's Island? Where's Devil's Island? Are there any prisons on the island? Yes, I watched a documentary, and I think it was. What's the guy's name? Who's the guy who does all the documentaries? Is it Ross somebody? It's going to annoy me now. There's a guy who does documentaries. Anyway, yes, there are prisons, and I'm going to. Well, let me just check. So let's come back to the map. There's definitely one in Nicosia. Let me just take the train off and just type prison. Definitely one in Nicosia because oh wow, they're all in Nicosia. Okay, right. What have we got in Paphos? Central Police Station. That's not quite what I had in mind. Gets 3.2. I'm guessing the prisoners weren't happy with their accommodation there. So I'm going to say I don't normally drive past. Oh, the jail pub, that's in Paya. That's just a pub, though. I think it used to be a jail. Pelemi detention camp. So here's a fun fact. I didn't realise this at the time, but this was a concentration camp. And from what I remember, from what I understand, it was a British concentration camp. And it's where the British were putting people when we were doing stuff on the island. So anyway, there's a fun fact for you. And it's just this. I don't know if you've ever been to Auschwitz in Poland, but it's nowhere near the scale of that. It's basically like this. Hello. Oh, can you go in? No, that's Paphos Mall. That's Kings Avenue Mall. Anyway. So yeah, there's a little concentration camp there. It's not a prison. It used to be a prison. Not anymore. So the prisons, like I say, the only ones I know of were in Nicosia. But what have you got in Limassol? Immigration unit, Escape Limassol Old Town. Yeah, I've been in there. These are really good. It's escape rooms. It's not really a prison, unless you crap, in which case it is. But no, escape rooms. We went there. That's good. So it's Nicosia. Nicosia is where the prisons are. And it wasn't Ross, it was Russell. No, Ross Kemp, Russell Kemp. Who's the guy? One of them. Russell Kemp, Ross Kemp. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure he did something on prisons in Cyprus. And it looked like it was a day centre. I've got to be honest. They took a different approach to prisoners and rehabilitation. And from what I understood, in this particular episode, somebody got married in prison. Like, okay, well, that's not what you'd expect. I don't know where the prison is, though. Well, it's not there. Well, it could be. No, it doesn't look like a prison, does it? Anyway, yes, there are prisons in Cyprus, and American Medical Center. Okay. I'm going to come away from that. There are prisons in Cyprus, yes. I just don't know. I don't know what they are or where they are, but they're in Nicosia. Okay. Martin, many thanks again. Mark, great information as always. No worries. Happy to help, Martin. Appreciate you and Sandra dialing in. Oh, that's dropped off. Loads of people have just disappeared. We've gone down to 19 people. So, like, you talk about prison, and everybody just scatters. In fact, actually, I'll tell you a story. So, there's a car wash near me that I really like. And I sent my business partner there. I told him, you should definitely go and try this car wash. It's really good. They do a really good service because not only do they wash and dry the car and hoover it and everything else, but they really go to town on it. They've got these air blowers, like an air compressor, and they blow all the water out the mirrors and stuff. So when you're driving along, you don't get all the spray coming out the mirrors afterwards. So they do a really good job on it, and I really like them. So I sent him down there, and he was like, Mark, that car wash you sent me to is rubbish. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah. He says, so I turned up. He says, they were washing my car. And while they're washing my car, a police car pulled up outside, and all the staff just ran away. So there must have been like all these illegals working there. They all ran away from the car wash, and then they just like left this one guy to finish his car off. He didn't do a very good job. I was like, well, you got to try it again. But it does make me want to get a megaphone or something, like police car sirens. You just pull up outside these car washes, a bit like the ice cream van. But you just pull up and you're like, woo! You just see everybody run away. I think it'd be really funny. Anyway, Ted, by the way, I used Sunny Cars for the rental car. It is probably a bit more expensive, but you don't have to worry about insurance, etc. Paid €374 for a nice Kia with automatic gears, almost mandatory, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like autos. I quite like driving a manual from time to time, but €374, it's relative, right? Because if that was for a day, it's really expensive. How long was that for? Oh, for 2 weeks. Okay. Carry on reading the questions, Mark. For 2 weeks. Cool. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I'm trying to think what I paid, actually. When I was here for 6 weeks, I seem to recall maybe £600 or £800 for the 6 weeks we were here, or euros even. But that was 2022. That was 4 years ago. So, Ross Kemp. Thanks, Alex. Ross Kemp. There you go. There is definitely there was a prison program. I think it was on Netflix or something like World's Toughest Prisons. That was it. World's Toughest Prisons on Netflix. There was something about Cyprus. And I was just like, wow, okay, totally different. It's not like the ones you see in Mexico or anywhere like that. Cool. What about, we're on 10 to 11. There are no more questions in the chat. So I will hang around for a bit. If anybody wants to ask anything, now's the time. Otherwise, just while we are waiting for questions to come through. So I will figure out how to get a notification out to people looking to do Cyprus Unfiltered meetup. We'll do the first one next Saturday. It's probably going to be around lunchtime. Again, I'll confirm it, like 11, 12 o'clock, something like that. So it's not taking up the full day. And it'll be self-funded. So just rock up. If people fancy eating, we'll find somewhere we can get some food. If people want to just drink and chat, then we can do that as well. But it'll allow you guys to meet each other. You can all network and mingle and all the rest of it. And if you don't, then I'll just mingle with myself and I'll do a YouTube live and just hopefully somebody will talk to me. I don't know. It'll be fine. So no, honestly, if people want to meet up next week, I'm going to start doing it first weekend of the month. It might not be Saturday, it might be Sunday. I want to try and make it like the first Sunday of the month or the first Saturday of the month. So I'll figure it out and I'm going to find a place. My original place was going to be Barracus Lounge, but based on my experience there after the refurb, I wasn't that impressed, which is a shame because they've got a load of good facilities with the playground and everything else for people that have got kids might be coming out. But I'll find somewhere that's got something nice and isn't necessarily too expensive. But anyway, we'll see what we can sort out. Philip, how did I meet my wife? That's an interesting question. I didn't think I was going there tonight. Well, do I tell you the long version or the short version? I can tell you the long version. I don't think I've ever admitted this publicly. Well, admitting it's not like it was a secret. But anyway, I have to, if I start telling you the long version, then you have to listen to the long version. You can't just go away once I've told you the beginning, because if I tell you the beginning, it sounds rubbish. So the short version, when people ask me, they'll say, where did you meet your wife? Or how did you meet your wife? And I go, we met in Krakow in Poland. Wish we did. And that is true. But the long version is we met on Facebook. And you go, oh, that's crap. How sad. And I can't end the story there. So because I've now said I met on Facebook, I have to tell you, and for the 25 people on, you better not log off because I've got to tell you the story now. So in 2008, in 2008, that was a long time ago. In 2008, I was going to Krakow. No, 2007, I was going to Krakow with a friend. And we went there for just like a lads' weekend, just me and him. And I went there because I'm half Polish. And I wanted to go out and kind of see where my grandparents were from and everything else. I'd never been to Poland at the time. And he was working out there. So he was like, hey, Mark, we should go to Poland. So I went to Poland. And I loved it. And we came back from that weekend. I loved chatting to the people out there. I loved it. And so, as you can tell, I'm quite a sociable person, right? And when I came back from Poland, I started chatting to maybe 10, 15 people from Poland in Facebook groups. And I'd chat to anybody that would talk to me. Didn't matter if they were guys, didn't matter if they were women. I just wanted to chat and learn about the country, learn about the culture, you know? And I was doing that. And when I look back at the messages now, so this was in January of 2007. In August of 2007, I ended up messaging somebody who is now my wife. And we ended up deciding that because I was going out there the following year for my birthday, we said, oh, that'd be cool to link up. And so we went out there to link up. And she was going to bring some of her friends from university and they were going to come meet me, my brother, and my friend. And when we met up on the Saturday night, we were expecting there to be a group of people, her and her friends. And there wasn't. It was just my now wife turned up on her own. We were like, wow, that's brave. You know, like literally, you come out meeting 3 random guys from the internet. This is back in 2008 now at this point. You know, it's not like now at 2026. And she met up and she was like, well, what are you going to do? It's my home city. You know, what's going to happen? And so when I say we met in Krakow, we did meet in Krakow for the first time. And that's where we met. And now we were there for a week. And while we were there for a week, we ended up kind of linking up a few times while we were there. And it was on the Tuesday. So I saw her on Saturday, didn't see her until Tuesday. On the Tuesday, we were meeting up, a group of us again. So me and my brother and my friend. On the Wednesday, we went out for dinner, just me and her. And then on the Thursday, we went to a place called Zakopane. And for those of you that don't know Poland, Zakopane is beautiful. It was one of a few places in the world that made me feel like I was 5 again. You know, if you ever saw the old traditional Christmas cards, it kind of looked like that. It was beautiful. And that was on the Thursday. And I remember we went snowmobiling. So we went snowmobiling and some cool stories. I won't bore you all with the stories now. But anyway, it was on that particular day when we were snowmobiling. I was like, man, you know what? Didn't matter who I'd met up until that point in my life. People in the UK just lost interest in anybody that I had got my eye on in the UK because I'd never had that much fun with somebody. And I realized at that point, I was like, not interested in anybody in the UK anymore. And even though I didn't think anything was going to happen between us at that point in time, I just knew that anybody I'd met up until that point wasn't the right person for me. And so anyway, it gets to Friday night, and it was the night before we were due to come home. And we were in a pub, me and my friend and my brother, and then my now wife. And she was looking a bit down, and I asked her what the matter was, and she says, nothing. And I looked at her and I said, no, you don't look particularly happy. What's up? And she says, what is there to be happy about? You going home tomorrow? And I was like, crap. Like, you're feeling it too, because I was feeling it. And in that moment, I just said, how would you like it if I came back for you? She says, what do you mean? I said, well, I'll just come back for you. We'll just choose to be totally monogamous now. We'll just 100%, we'll go in faith, you know, like be completely faithful, whatever. And we'll just try it. We'll just try long distance. And so my brother and my friend came back from the bar because they were getting drinks. And they came back from the bar and said, guys, I've got something to tell you. And they're like, what? I says, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. Like, what the hell just happened? I don't know. We're just going to try it. Like, how's that going to work? Don't know. We're just going to try it. So anyway, On the Saturday, went to the airport. She took us to the airport, and we flew home. 2 weeks later, I flew back to Poland, and we did long distance for 2 years. And that's what we did. Flew back and forth every probably between 2 and 4 weeks. We did that for 2 years. So it's tough. It was really tough, but that's how we met. And like I say, when I tell people, if people have got the short version, then I just tell them we met in Krakow. And if people have got time, then I will tell them the full story. But I can't end it with we met on Facebook because that's crap. So there you go. That's how I met my wife. Hopefully that's interesting. We've got a little bit of Mark Unfiltered tonight. Oh, I don't know what you're laughing at, but hey, I'm glad it's entertaining. Whatever you're laughing at, for Lee. Hey, Mark, how are you? Hey, Lee. Hey, Kelly. Well, I'm good. And we're 2 hours in, but I'm good. Hope you guys are well. You guys are coming out in October, right? From what I remember, I think it's October coming out. Cool. Right. There are no more questions. There's still 26 people online. I'm still going strong. If anybody's got anything they want to know, if anybody's got any questions, in fact, while people are on, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who's up for meeting up next Saturday? Anybody on here fancy meeting up? Who would be up for that? Because if you are, then I'm going to get some details out. And if you're not, I'm still going to send some details out, but I'll just be lonely and sit there on my own. Either way works. Awesome story, Mark. Congratulations to you both. Cool. Thank you very much. Glad you liked it. That was 2008. We got married in 2010. It kind of sucked because we'd done 2 years of long distance at that point. And in 2010, when we did get married, I still had to then come home on my own because she was finishing off her master's degree before then flying to the UK to spend time with me. So yeah, that was pretty tough going. But yeah, who would be up for meeting up next Saturday? Excuse me, anybody? And if you're not, that's fine. But I will get some notifications out. We'll go somewhere next Saturday. We'll link up. We can have some drinks, whatever. For anybody that's here on the island right now, we can link up. But it's going to be the first weekend of the month going forward. So we'll do one in June. We'll do one in July. We'll do it in August, September, October. You get the picture. We'll do the first weekend. And so, yeah. Any questions from people? Anybody get an answer? Alex, the 6th works for us. Cool. That's the Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. Awesome. We can do that. Still in the UK next weekend, sadly. Back in Tyler for a week the following weekend. Oh, shame. Okay. That's a shame. Well, we can maybe link up anyway. Maybe we can link up and just can have a coffee or something. That's always good fun. Cool. Well, Alex, it'll be good to see you and Emma. At least I'm not going to be totally on my own. I think Lee and Lou were up for it as well. You guys can meet each other. That'd be cool. Anybody else wants to link up, then that would be good. We'll just see. We'll just see if we can get some momentum going. And the thing is, I want to do it because I know what it's like when you come to a country and you don't really know anybody. Yeah, I knew one person. It's not like we were close friends or anything. I just met somebody who, I'd met at a networking event and kind of kept in touch. And so I know what it's like when you first come out to a new place and you don't know anybody, you don't know where anything is. Yes, you can use Google, but it's kind of nice to have somebody that you can chat to or whatever. And so if we start getting this going, you guys kind of see each other in the comments on a regular basis now. So you kind of probably getting to know some of the usernames like I am as well. Then on that basis, when you do move out here, you'll know some people and that'd be cool. And if you guys get to meet some friends as a result of this, then that's worth it. That's going to be super cool. So hopefully that will help people. That's really what I'm trying to do, is just help as many people as I can. So, see, next weekend is probably the only weekend of the entire year that we can't make, as it's our daughter is coming over for a week's holiday and will likely be out and about. I'm going to take that personally. No worries, Stephen. No, it's fine. I understand. You've got commitments. That's all good. So no problem at all. You bring your daughter if you want. She can come and join us if you fancy a coffee. She'll be like, who the hell's Mark? Why are you watching his? What do you mean you're going to meet a guy from the internet? What are you talking about? Cool. Right. We are on 11 o'clock dead. Does anybody have anything they want to know? Anybody got any questions? Anybody want to ask anything? My wife had to wait 17 years for me to marry her. We finally tied the knot and got married in Cyprus. Oh, cool. Actually, I seem to remember you saying that, actually. I seem to remember you saying that. Where did you get married? Where did you get married in Cyprus? Can't remember where you said that, but I don't know why that story sounds familiar to me. So yeah, but that's cool. Yeah, 17 years is a long time. Basically, it took you as long to ask your wife. I'm assuming you asked her. She didn't ask you. She got bored and she asked you. But yeah, God blimey. Well, I'll have been married 16 years this August. Any questions for anybody? Like I say, I'm going to go just to the like and share screen one last time because I can have a drink without you guys watching me slurp. You'll probably still hear me slurp, but that's fine. Okay, guys, if you've got any questions, you want to know anything else about healthcare, about anything we talked about tonight, anything that's on your mind, feel free to ask away. If you're liking this so far, give it a like because that helps me out a lot. And if you aren't subscribed already, then it'd be awesome if you could subscribe. That'd be cool. I say I'm going to start doing sporadic lives. I actually went live last night, and I went live in the middle of Paphos for those of you that didn't see it, because I think 2 people popped on while I was live. And it was just showing you what Saturday night is like in Paphos with the kids. You know, I talked about this story before and talked about what Saturday nights are like in Paphos and how safe it is. And I literally showed you last night of just walking around. So anyway, if you are subscribed, then if you hit the little bell, you get notified when I go live. Like I say, some of them I'll just start going live more, and I'm not going to announce it. I'll just do it because if I see something interesting, I'm going to start doing stuff that's interesting. Annoyingly though, and I know I always bang on about YouTube letting me down, it let me down again last night because I started talking and my boy was behind me. He'd got his arm around my neck and he was behind me, and I did my intro, talked about being Cyprus Unfiltered, and he was like, hello. And then once we'd done that, I got up from the table I was sat at with our friends and I kind of walked off. And for some reason, even though YouTube said I was live, it gave me the countdown. You get a countdown screen when you go live, and then it's kind of black and white, and then it changes to full color. And then you get the little red timer on there, and it's like 1, 2, 3. It's counted up in seconds. So that was all on. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm live. Cool. And then I was like, hey, we're out in Paphos, and you're watching Cyprus Unfiltered, all that, right? The stuff that I do at the start. And my son said hello. And then I got up and he ran off to the park and the playground. And I got up and I started walking. Anyway, the video lasted about 4.5 minutes, something like that. But when YouTube finished doing whatever they do to it, it ended up being like 3 minutes 56. And it lost the entire start. So people watching it, like there's no context to my live video yesterday because I introduced what the video was about, like I do in every video. But there was no context to it. So it just starts off with me walking under the umbrella. And I was like, oh, that's rubbish. So anyway, if you do subscribe and you do hit the bell, then there's a good chance you'll just see me walking randomly somewhere because it won't record the intro and you'll be like, what's he doing? Anyway, this is top tier TV. We've got Philip, Yamasia Village. I don't know where that is. Should we have a look? I'm interested. Oh, hang on. Yamasia Village. Okay, Yamasia. Did you really? Finding holes in the story. Maybe I'm just not spelling it. Let me zoom in 1 second. Yamasia. Oh, okay, I can't spell. Ah, there you go. It's a picnic problem. Problem in chair, not in computer. It's me. That isn't what I typed. Did you get married here? Limassol. It looks like it. Looks like I'm going to guess you got married around here. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully that's the place. Anyway. Philip, I watched you last night. Oh, cool. I saw 2 people had jumped on and then a couple of people disappeared. And so, yeah, I don't, because it's kind of hard to see. The trouble is when you go live on your phone, I can't see if anybody's putting comments or anything like that. And I don't even know if you can if I go live on my phone. But thanks for tuning in. Anyway, much appreciated. Veronica, do you know how much a tooth filling is? What I do remember is when we went to the dentist, I think we had two fillings between us, either my wife and my son, or me and my son. I can't remember. Have I had a filling here? I've had a filling here, yeah. Oh, that's really annoying. 2 fillings and an X-ray, and I think a clean cost us €160. I can't remember the exact cost of a single filling. I've got it in my head. I don't know. I've got it in my head. It's about, yeah, okay, right. So I'm having to remember this now. I remember telling the story to my friend who is a dentist, and I'm sure the filling, pretty sure the filling was about €50 because then he rounded it down. In fact, on one of my healthcare videos, I did talk about the cost of fillings. I'm sure I did. I'm kind of having to trade on the memory now. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think it was like €50 or something. In fact, my wife's in the chat now saying, I think I paid €80. For 2 fillings and an X-ray, like I say, I'm sure I paid about €160. So maybe it wasn't 80. Was it 2 fillings and a clean? I can't remember, Ferry. I can't remember, Monica. I don't want to tell you wrong, but it wasn't expensive by comparison. From what I understand, a filling in the UK is about £200. It was nowhere near that at all. Asha, maybe Germasogit. Germasogegi. Thanks. Can't pronounce that. Germasogia. Anybody Greek watching? Can anybody pronounce that? Can you spell it phonetically, please? I don't know what it says. Veronica, and how long you wait for an appointment? Oh, like it's quick. I could ring my dentist tomorrow and I would have an appointment probably this week or next. Yeah, it's quick. Not long at all. Because the thing is, a lot of the dental practices out here are all private anyway, because they're all kind of like one man bands. So even if you got one that is taking too long, you'll be able to find another one. But yeah, it's not like a week or two. Yeah, it's pretty quick. Not as quick as an MRI walking in off the street, but or a CT scan, but it's pretty quick. There you go. Ash is saying less than a week, but I think it was because I wasn't available earlier. I missed one there, Philip. The municipality of Yermasoya, somewhere in Limassol. Okay. Yes, I think that might be the one that we found on the map. Yeah, it looks like it. Well, that's cool. Anyway, so that was 17 years ago. So you are looking to, because I think you said you want to move back out to Cyprus. You want to move to Cyprus, and would you move to Limassol? Is that where you'd go? Would you go Paphos? Would you go Larnaca? Where are you thinking? Asha, less than a week. Oh no, so read that one rather than dentist. Okay, cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, if there's no more answers to questions, I know there's a bit of a lag, but if there's no more answers to questions, nobody's got any more questions, we can probably call it a night because I don't want to take up your time for the sake of it. There's still 23 people on, and you've probably got something you want to do on a Sunday night before work tomorrow. So unless you want to know anything else, then I can get out of your way. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing before you tuned into this. But I do appreciate you tuning in. A lot of people seem to turn up every week now, and I appreciate that. And I'm still quite frankly blown away that people are interested in this. People are interested in what I have to say, because for those of you that didn't start watching at the beginning, when I first started out, for about the first 3 months, it was just me talking to my wife. The videos lasted about 15, 20 minutes, just me doing a bit of content, a bit of information, thinking somebody will watch it one day, maybe get some use out of it. And there was no live Q&A because there was nobody to ask questions. And then I remember actually, I think it was like December time, and I logged in and I'm just waiting, and I was just kind of like going, okay, I'll just go live and do a video, and maybe somebody will watch it, maybe somebody won't. And I think there was 2 people waiting for me to go live, and I was like, oh my god, what do I do? I've got to perform now. Like, I've actually got to do something, and people are going to watch me make mistakes and everything. It's like, oh god. Anyway, it's quite interesting now. So cool. Look, I will let people go. Paphos, cool. All right, Philip. Well, if you ever come out to Paphos, give us a shout. Maybe we can link up. Be cool. Martin, good night all. Good night, Martin. Good night, Sandra. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys sell your house soon. Fingers crossed for you anyway. Cool. Well, I'm going to get out of here then. I will let you all go. And I will, for those of you that are going to come on Saturday, I will see you Saturday. I will send some information out. Like I said, it's either going to be on Facebook or the YouTube comments, or both. I know, Alex, I've got your number anyway. But I will try and do it in a way that if people want to join me that haven't necessarily been on tonight, then they'll know where we're going and everything else. So I'm going to figure that out, and I'll get a post up, and maybe you guys can share it as well for anybody that might want to join us that's on the island. So yes, I will do that, and we'll leave it there. So, good session, Mark. Thanks. No problem, Alex. Thanks very much for tuning in. Emma, if you're there, thank you very much. Cool. Right, I'm going to go. Have a good evening, all. I will see those of you that I'm going to see on Saturday. If not, I'll see you on Sunday. And I've got some interesting content coming up, hopefully next Sunday. Hopefully this was interesting as well. But I've got some different content coming up next Sunday. So, yeah, that's hopefully going to be some tactical information that people can actually get some use out of. Leave it there. Catch you all soon, guys. Cheers, and catch you soon. Very enjoyable content tonight. Thank you. No, thank you, Philip. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your attention. So much appreciated. Thanks very much. Have a good night, all. I'd love to meet you in person when we move. All right, that'd be awesome, Philip. I would love to meet you too. I always like meeting new folks, and I appreciate you dialing in. So if we meet up, I can buy you a coffee or something. It'd be good to meet you.